All right. What is going on, YouTube? What's going on, fellow fantasy people? And of course, what is up? The catch. Fam! You already know what time it is, man. We have got our must-start running backs, must-start wide receivers for week 7 of the 2021 NFL football season. We've got Steve in the house. What is going on, man?
Hey, fantasy apocalypse this week. Really bad week.
It's rough.
The teams on bye week just never end. I got to imagine the NFL just decided to put all the top teams on bye week in 1 week, just to basically forfeit the week's ratings.
Well, it's that and the injuries. I mean,
yeah.
Is this the worst year of injuries we've ever seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably because of the fact that it seems to be like, I mean, it's all over the place for sure, but also you could probably say like it's hurt the running back position the most. So you're just starting guys that just like absolutely you probably wouldn't even be rostered. So yeah, it's been tough, man. It's been really tough. I know both of us are, in a position where we're hurting at running back. So, but we're not alone.
You should see in my 20-man league. It's so bad.
Oh my gosh! I couldn't even imagine what that is.
Yeah, I mean, my roster, Jared Cook and James Robinson are like two of my main starters, and they're both on bye week. It's pretty bad.
I don't even know like what you would be doing on the waivers for running back. Like, are you picking up like
Johnson's out there, so I'm crossing my fingers, but there's no way I'm going to get him. Ramondre Stevenson is available as well.
That's surprising.
A big target. It is actually, and I meant to get him last week. I didn't, but
yeah, he's done.
It's rough this week, guys. In case you haven't noticed, I mean, I have glaring holes across all my fantasy leagues. Coming off of a week where I won all my fantasy matchups, the first time in history, probably. And it's scary right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at Daryl Patterson for the Washington football team as a potential pickup, that's when you know shit's hitting the fan. So all you can really do is at the end of the day, like if you have to forfeit a week in fantasy, you might have to do it because some of the guys that you're gonna have to drop to go get, they're like 1 week flyers, because
that's the hard part too, is deciding who do I have to sacrifice.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I'm looking at my 20-man league, and I'm like, I also Dallas is on bye week is a big thing. I don't want to drop Dallas's defense because they've been that good, and I'm that bad in the 20-man league.
Yeah,
and I don't want to drop one of my two quarterbacks because they're so thin, right? And one of them's Tua, and if he goes down, then I don't get Trevor Lawrence. It's a mess.
Tua is a definitely an interesting topic because the waivers are going to clear. I mean, in terms of quarterbacks available, he is one of few, So, it'll be interesting. He's got a good matchup too. So I don't think he would make like your must-start quarterback video, but in terms of a waiver pickup, I mean,
yeah, I haven't put it together, and it's probably too late because waivers go through tonight, but I might still put it out there tomorrow morning if I have time. I want to do a quarterback streaming video, because so many teams are on bye this week, and that's one of the top guys I've got. There's some good options this week, at least at the QB position, who should be available in even 10-man leagues, right?
Is maybe my guy, Mr. Carson Wentz, on there?
I don't mind him this week, but I think there's better options.
Matt Ryan, I like him.
Matt Ryan and Tua, Derek Carr's got the Eagles. There's good matchups. I think Sam Darnold is going to bounce back this week. He's due for a bounce back, right?
In our personal league, I think that's where I'm going to stake my claim at quarterback and just hope that Sam Darnold can get me like 14 to 20 points.
Yeah.
Because hopefully I'm not going to have to burn too much of a waiver priority on a guy like Matt Ryan or Tua. Because, hey, man, it is also like quarterback's another position. Like that's going to be another hot commodity out there. So
yeah,
they're going to be flying like pancakes on Thanksgiving.
Next week I've got Lamar on bye, and so I got to worry about that next week. There's too much to worry about this week for me to even think about potentially picking up a QB this current week. But yeah, we've got the Bills, so that's Josh Allen, right? Zach Moss, Devin Singletary,
their whole team.
Stephon Diggs, Tyler Bass, Dawson Knox. Say a prayer.
Injured. Yeah, injured too.
Cole Beasley. We got the Cowboys. That's Dak Prescott, Zeke, Tony, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz. I thought you were going to help me out there. All those receivers. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb just had his biggest game of the season, man. He looked like he was really starting to get hot for all those people that were out there potentially trading him. This is why you keep a guy like CeeDee Lamb.
We got the Chargers. That's Philip Rivers, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler. That was a joke. Austin Eckler, right?
Yeah, Austin Eckler, man. That's tough.
Jared Cook, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. We got the Vikings. You like that? Kirk Cousins is out this week, guys.
Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Dalvin Cook, even if he's got a broken leg.
KJ Osborne, your guy KJ.
My guy who when I start him, he gets 2 points. When I drop him or bench him, has a game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
Got the Steelers. No Najee Harris. No
Deontay
Johnson.
Yeah, I mean
Chase Claypool. Ben Roethlisberger.
No.
No Jaguars. No Trevor Lawrence.
James Robinson. I mean, you
Marvin Jones had a great game.
Yeah, and same with Laviska Shenault, someone that obviously people are probably now thinking about dropping just because they don't want to have to deal with the bye week. Yeah,
I'm gonna drop him this week.
You don't really want to drop him. Although I will say, I caught some of that London game, and he was dropping passes left and right.
He had some bad drops.
Like that's not encouraging.
He should have had like a 20-point game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had the game, like he had the chance to really kind of pop off, and he just dropped them left and right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a tough week, guys. If you didn't know already, we wanted to remind you. But that's why we're here. That's why you guys are here. So let's go through some roll call. And then we'll hop into the must start RB segment for the week. Then maybe get to a couple questions. Then we'll let Stephen get through his must-start wide receivers on the week, and then we'll use our remaining time for some good old fantasy Q&A.
Before we do this, you can probably tell from the stains on my shirt, or you will at some point, but I had chili tonight. What did you have tonight for dinner?
Yeah, most important question of the night. What did you guys have for dinner? It's my wife and I's anniversary, so I ordered Carrabba's.
Big man.
Not the response I was thinking was going to happen. But I Carrabba's.
Oh, classy establishment. Very classy.
Very classy. Speaking of that, Richard Gloss is in the building. Hello.
Oh, classy,
an established gentleman, Richard.
Derrick Henry almost destroyed you.
Oh, almost is a key word there. Jerry, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you, man. KA9, what's up, dog? It's good to see you, my guy. Jerry just got back from playing some basketball. I can attest I'm much better at basketball than Steven.
Gosh, he's so sweaty. He runs around with no shirt on. It's like a wild boar running through the
foul people. That's all I know to do. I couldn't make a shot to save my life, man.
Literally, just imagine a wild boar running through the trees. That is John playing basketball.
I can't deny. Quite accurate. Richard Glass is gaming. Let's go. KA9, do you think Calvin Ridley is going to do good because I got him off waivers? Of course.
Let's save it. Yeah, let's save some of that tasty.
Calvin Ridley. Steven's saying that's a little tasty, appetizing. Richard Glass, I went 4-1 because of the damn Bills. I almost dropped Allen, Moss, and Bass out of spite last night, but then common sense kicked in. Fair enough. Aaron Reborn, what's going on, man? Always good to have you here. Richard Glass, I think he's a great waiver if you can get him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you get Calvin Ridley as a waiver. Absolutely great. Nate is 4-2. Let's go, Nate.
Let's get it.
Better than my records. Jerry, I wouldn't trust Carson Wentz.
I want to.
Bright, what's going on, man? Nate, hello. Streak, do I trade Corey Sutton Patterson for Kamara?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Corey and Sutton.
I think it's Kamara.
Sutton's been playing really well, man.
It's Kamara.
Obviously, Jude. Yeah, I get that. But you are getting Patterson right there, who's been playing borderline RB1 level. So you'd like to see something in return, 3 for 1. But I'd probably make that move.
As Richard asked, do you still have wide receiver depth? That's a great point too.
Yeah.
Blammo time, some good defenses on bye. Absolutely.
Great defenses.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys check out Steven's must start defensive video for the week. If you guys haven't done so already, should give you guys some pointers. Nate, who should I start pick 2. DJ Moore, Hopkins, or Cup.
Yeah, we'll pivot.
Okay.
Yeah, must start video, but I will say somebody that wasn't mentioned just purely because he's like the best receiver in football. Cup will be the guy who makes it out of that list, and I would also go Hopkins here too.
Okay. Blammo time. Happy anniversary. Thank you. 2 years strong. Can you believe that, man?
It's pretty wild, man.
Look at this. Wild. There's Steven at our wedding. Right in the front. Can I get look at Steven? Yeah.
I like how Gavin's face is totally blacked out. It's
it wasn't a great view there.
He's too tall. He's too tall.
Jerry, damn, John's a shirtless player. Shook my head all sweaty when he got him. That's that's my only defense. That's how bad I am at basketball. I'm like just pouring water on myself and running on people. Like
he literally
don't come near me.
The feeling of his body, just to put details to this, it's kind of like that old palm oil, like that you do for cooking. Just imagine being lathered in that, like a good old vegetable oil. That's what it's like covering him.
For anyone new, hopping in at this very minute, go ahead and hit that sub button down below. Become part of the Catch Fam. Mark, what's going on, Mark? Good to have you here as always, my guy. Hope you're doing well tonight. Jason, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well as well. Not to be redundant. Please, waiver gods, give me D'Ernest Johnson. Yes.
Yeah, we were just talking about that when we jumped on the stream. I mean, it's D'Ernest Johnson, I think, is going to be that guy. I think we're just going to take that chance with him and kind of just – I think they went out and signed John Kelly, the other running back, which kind of gives a sign that, could be for sure that Chubby is going to be out.
Stefanski has said that Chubb is not playing.
Yeah, so which was kind of probably already known about. But, I mean, D'Ernest Johnson, Hunt's going to be out for a while. He could be around for a little bit, but they got this – what, the Steelers are up next, right? So the schedule's not great, but I definitely like him. Alex
Collins played okay against the Steelers, so
he did. But I'll tell you what, man, I don't know if I can trust starting Alex Collins. He's got a Monday night matchup. You do not want to be waiting for Monday night to decide if your guy's going to be going or not.
Will Rashad Penny be a thing?
I think.
I had waivers in for him, then I got scared.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my point is like there's a couple different scenarios that can happen. Either Alex Collins plays or he's out and Rashad Penny's the starter. But Homer looked amazing. He looked really good with the work he got. He's probably going to be more of the pass catching back too. So he's probably going to be splitting touches with Homer anyways. I don't know.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah, Homer Simpson.
I'm just imagining Homer Simpson catching the football.
Predicting the future. Yeah. And the Saints steel line is pretty good, man. Same with that defense just in general.
Yeah. But I'm right there with you, Jason. Jerry, would Henderson for Williams be a good trade? John knows my team. I don't want you to lose Henderson.
No way, baby.
Henderson's like one of the most valuable running backs you can own right now. We'll come back to Jerry.
No way.
Bryce Davis, I'm on a killer bye week, so who should I put at flex? Full PPR, Mooney, TJ, or Tim Patrick? Tim Patrick. All day for me. Or TJ is fine too. I don't mind Mooney either. Those are all very good flex options, actually.
Mooney has been quietly having himself like good games.
Him and Justin Fields are like
connection. Yeah, connection for sure there.
Yeah. But we talked about this last week. We can start Tim Patrick at this point in time in full PPR leagues or even half PPR leagues with full confidence. He's about as consistent as a wide receiver too that's been out there. And I'm not just saying that because I love Tim Patrick and I've rooted for him in the preseason, but the numbers
Tim Patrick, he shouldn't be still a waiver. Tim Patrick should not be a waiver still. He needs to be picked up if he hasn't already been picked up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I keep seeing him popping up on waiver wire vlogs and sources every single week, and I'm like, why is this still a thing?
Yeah, exactly.
He's been my starter in like both my leagues. I mean, that speaks to me, my skill, right? But yeah. Jerry, Ed Steven, what defense should I pick up for next week? I have both Patriots and Steelers, but they don't have good matchups coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I guess the Steelers have the Browns coming up. Browns are banged up. So maybe not as terrible of a play as it would have been a couple of weeks ago, but I'm taking a look at it for you right now, and it looks like the Bengals, which have been a pretty good defense on the season, are playing the Jets, right? So we're streaming the Pats against the Jets for a reason, and I think the Bengals are, another good play here, good matchup. I'm trying to look to see if there's really some other ones here. I mean, I'm assuming the Rams are not going to be available. Let's see here what we got going on. Panthers defense is going to be going up against Atlanta Falcons. Definitely think there's some good opportunity there for them to be a good play as well. And then you got the Denver Broncos, which I'm kind of staying away from right now, the Broncos defense, until they prove that they are as good as they were in those first couple games. But they're playing Washington, right? So not a terrible look as well. Yeah, and then I think like the last one would just be if the Saints are still available. If Tampa Bay is still available, they have the Saints. So definitely think there's a chance there against Jameis Winston in that revenge game.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be a fun game though, man. See if Jameis gets to come back here and maybe make a little ruckus for Bruce Arians.
Bring the mother effing ruckus on Jameis Winston.
I can already see the narrative, the Saints winning and Jameis Winston being crowned as the better quarterback.
We'll see. TS, Hunter Henry or Ertz for tight end PPR. These are both very good matchups. Ertz has got the Raiders, which I like quite a bit, actually. I want to like Ertz more.
No. Ertz has the Texans. He is a Cards man now.
Oh yeah, this is a
outdated.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
baby.
I can't believe that hasn't updated.
Crazy world.
What a bad source.
Yeah.
But Hunter Henry has got the Jets in full PPR. He's had at least 10 points in the last 3 weeks, and he's had a touchdown in his last 3 games. Jets are the 23rd worst team against opposing tight ends. I say you just roll with Mr. Henry.
Yeah.
Anunia. Sorry, Steven.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, obviously that Texans matchup at tight ends has been pretty favorable. Mo Alley Cox, you talked about him, then he went off and scored.
I mean, it's a very hard matchup to debate against.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, too, tons of mouths to feed there. This game probably is going to get out of hand quickly. And with that said, too, it's like maybe let Ertz kind of see his role first before you throw him in there. Hunter Henry is a clear established weapon on this team.
Exactly. Anunia, please help. Please, I need this answered right now. ASAP. Okay. I have Pitts. Should I trade Waller, Zach Moss, and Justin Tucker for Kamara?
Love that a kicker is in this trade package. That is
probably
amazing.
Offends Richard.
Richard, that is amazing.
Don't look at this, man. I would say yes. If you're confident in Pitts, maybe there's 1 or 2 other tight ends like Hunter Henry floating around, or someone out there, Zach Ertz even, depending on how large your league is. Maybe Dallas Goedert got dropped, and you can go ahead and pick up depth right away after your trade. Then, yeah, I think that's a good trade. I like Kamara on the season. Zach Moss let us down last night. Love Waller, but let's be real. I mean,
he's been playing rough these past few weeks, man.
Yeah. So, yes, Anunia, personally, I think it's a good trade. TS says, I would. TS Booker or Pittman Jr.? I think I would. I think I'd lean Pittman there in full PPR.
Yeah, man. I mean, you had Booker this week in our personal league, and so you're kind of forced into a spot where you have to start him. But I think we can both agree that if we had the option here, we'd probably move to Pittman. Turned out, it was a scenario where T.Y. Hilton kind of did his normal takeover of Houston and kind of took a lot of that target share away from Pittman, which we expected that to not happen. But another favorable matchup against San Francisco.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jerry, I hope I pick up either KJ Osborne or Peoples-Jones. Yeah, you need them, man. You need them.
Peoples-Jones could be a long-term play.
Yeah. Hidden X. Hey, Catch, how's it going, y'all? I have a question. Should I pick up the Cardinals defense because it's on waiver? I would say so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Especially if you have them this week against the Texans. Oh, my gosh. That's... You never want to bank against the Texans and say it's a for sure lock, but they could end up with like 15 points.
Yeah.
20 points.
But good to see you hit an X. And yes, I think we both agree that you should do so. It's Crypt. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, and Najee Harris got my 8-man locked up for me. Let's go. That's a scary trio. Mr. Ugg, Thomas on the shelf another 2 weeks. Yikes. Jerry, I should have mentioned what defense are available. Niners, Seahawks, Eagles, KC, Chargers. Those are the top 5 highest projected defenses.
All right. Hold on a second. Week 8. So we got the Niners playing the Bears. The Seahawks. Who are the Seahawks playing Jacksonville?
That could get tasty.
Yeah, that could get tasty really quick. We got the Eagles playing against. I'm trying to figure this out. They're buried because they've not been doing great. Can't even find them, honestly.
The Eagles have the Raiders
next week or this week?
This week.
Okay. Yeah. So I would go with out of here, man. I mean, I still think that the Chargers. They'll be on bye week next week, and I think you're kind of looking for who's going to be able to play for you next week, as you already got a defense in this week. So I don't know why the hell I can't find this Eagles team.
Sorry, Jerry.
But no, I mean, honestly, out of this, I kind of feel like the Seahawks might be a play. And if not the Seahawks, it would probably have to be the Niners going up against the Bears. But I'll have to look more into that for you, man.
We'll get to you, Jerry. Don't worry.
Honestly, I think I'd rather have the Steelers against the Browns that are banged up next week, to be honest.
Richard Glass Blast from Mirror. Yes. Nobody trade Justin Tucker in the presence of Richard. Michael Chapp, what's going on, man? Good to see you as always. Johnson or Peyton, who's the better pick this week? I'm assuming that's D'Ernest Johnson. And who's Peyton? Why am I blanking on Peyton?
My first thought is Peyton Barber.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
In that case, I would lean with Johnson. Let us know if you need clarification or further thoughts.
Probably in volume.
Jew, what's going on? I know you've been waiting for this one, man. Hey, kicker question for my man Steven. Folk, Prater, Carlson, or another guy like Crosby, who I dropped last week and finally scored 10 plus again.
Yeah. He's back. He's back on our radar. I think honestly, I think all these guys are really good plays, including Carlson, who I think we've been fading recently. But going up against Philly, I think that might be an opportunity for him to kind of get back in our good graces. But honestly, I mean, if you look at the numbers, man, I mean, the reason why he wasn't included on the must start video was just because of his ranking. But Nick Folk, man, I mean, he's been dominant. He's been like a Tyler Bass kind of guy. On the season, he's been really good. So I think I'd probably go Nick Folk, Prater, Crosby, Carlson in that order. Because I mean, the one thing about Crosby that I really do like is I just love this matchup against Washington. I really think that's going to be good for them.
Yeah, I've currently got a waiver in for him.
No way, man. We got a waiver bid on Mason Crosby.
I don't think it's in our league. I think it's in the catch family.
I don't care. I just want a waiver bid. Usually the kickers that will get picked up on scraps after waivers clear. And then they dive in like wild hawks.
Michael Chapp, the other Browns RB is Peyton, or my bad, his name is Felton. Yeah. What I'm reading between the two is that Johnson is the guy that we want, and Felton is going to be the third down back. So don't get me wrong, Felton could end up having a score, having a good game, but the back he's going to see the bulk of the carries is Johnson, and that's a back. We could be wrong.
Yeah,
we could be wrong though. I mean, it's like we don't exactly know how this is going to roll out. We're relying on the sources we have. So, gosh, it's a total shit show this week.
Yeah,
but yeah, Michael, I think Johnson. That's where I'm at the moment with everything I've looked into and read. Jerry, start to Fournette, Connor, or Williams. If it's Javonte Williams, I think I lean Fournette and Connor. We'll hold off there for a reason. The must start segment's coming up quite shortly. Mr. Wow. Saints get Lutz back this week. Let's go. Lutz is a beast.
That's good, man. He is a stud.
It's a great kicker. Let's see here. Ryan Hayes, what's going on, man? Jacobs or Brandon Cooks at flex? I like both of those plays, but I think I'm leaning Jacobs personally. Once again,
I like Brandon Cooks this week against Arizona, though.
Sure.
But
I think they're both good plays. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think they're both good plays. And honestly, yeah, I'd probably lean Jacobs too. Drake got like, what, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns on like 4 plays. So, I don't think there's anything to get too spooked about in terms of if you're a Jacobs fan.
But I do think you could be optimistic if you want to go out and get Drake. I mean, maybe he's going to see more involvement. We'll see.
I thought about doing it in our personal league because he's on waivers.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see here. Do you look at Steven getting all excited about kicker getting picked off waivers? The love for kickers is real.
It's natural to me now.
We're the channel that loves kickers. Richard Glass, the nice thing about Felton is he's labeled wide receiver / RB on Yahoo. That is nice. I wish they just made all running backs that way. That would be convenient. Jerry, the guy I'm in trade talks with has Hill, Williams, Moore, and Hilton. I have Henry, Henderson, Andrews, and Lockett to work with. He said he really needs an RB. I also have Collins. Yeah, Jerry, I would not give up Henderson.
No, man, you can't do that. Yeah,
I think it would hurt your team too much. I mean, I'm still thinking that your best trade opportunities are Andrews and Lockett in terms of giving up good value, but not completely destroying the roster as well.
I have no problem.
Yeah, I do not want you to lose Henderson and or Henry. I think that's where you're going to see the bulk of your points. So
yeah,
tell that owner to suck it. Collins is a little banged up, A, and B is not going to be the RB1 forever. So I would not be relying on him. So yeah, Straight Gaming, STR3 Gaming. What's going on? Hope you're doing fantastic tonight. Welcome to the Catch. Thoughts on this trade? Jalen Hurts and Devontae Booker for Calvin Ridley. I think it's a fine trade if you're not hurting at quarterback.
Yeah.
Good.
I kind of want to also just go on a tangent real quick about this as well. If you have in the situation where you're potentially trading Jalen Hurts, my gut instinct is that you probably have another quarterback option that you're confident in, because right now Jalen Hurts is like a top 5 quarterback. So I don't know how you feel about this, but if you're in a situation where you have 2 quarterbacks that you feel confident in, are you willing to now start making a trade off of a guy like a Jalen Hurts? Because, he's still, a mobile quarterback that has really actually, as a football player, looked pretty bad at quarterback. His fantasy numbers have been looking good because that rushing volume is consistent, but he can obviously get banged up and then he's totally useless. But I don't know. That's just like something that I had a conversation with someone recently about that. But Calvin Ridley, I do think we're going to start seeing a breakout for him too. So I definitely think that's a trade that you can do as long as you have somebody that can come in there and give you good value at quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's a great point as straight gaming, as long as you know that he has Kyler Murray. I mean,
yeah, you got to do that.
At that point, yeah, I think in terms of how many injuries we've seen this year, how many bye weeks we've got at the moment, that if you need value, then that's a smart move, right? Mm-hmm. There's probably good enough waiver quarterbacks that you can still add value to your roster at the QB position on a weekly basis. But who are you going to start over Kyler Murray, right? As good as Jalen Hurts is, it's like I think Murray has a higher ceiling. Like, you're still starting Kyler Murray, so it's a smart move to go to make that trade. And yeah, I think Calvin Ridley is a good trade target, especially for hurting at receiver. So yeah, I think it's a good trade. All right, let's see here. We'll get through a couple more questions, go another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll hop into our must start RB segment. And then, we'll knock out both segments right in a row. We'll do both must start segments right in a row. Let's see, Mr. Best 1 week play. Callaway, Van Jefferson, or Tim Patrick. Got to pick one for fill-in. As much as my intuition is telling me to say Tim Patrick, don't you think Callaway is a little bit of a sneaky play this week? As you already mentioned, Jameis possibly having a revenge game this week.
No. I'm going to go with Van Jefferson here.
Really?
Out of those 3. Well, I would go Tim Patrick, Van Jefferson, and then Callaway.
Okay.
Primarily just because I think that the opportunities for Van Jefferson to do what he does best, which is get deep and make splashy plays, is going to be against this Detroit Lions team. I just think it's going to be a good chance, good opportunities. I think the Rams are going to carry forward what they just did to the Giants against this Lions team. Honestly, I'm expecting it to be even worse. because there are narratives in this game. Obviously, Jared Goff coming back. I think the Rams are going to be coming back with a little bit of a, screw you. And Campbell's not even defending Goff anymore. He's kind of throwing him under the bus in press conferences. I think this could get ugly and messy really quick.
That's a great point.
That's why I kind of like all the options I can get against this Lions team.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. You like that?
But Patrick first. I mean, Patrick's just like going to be 10 to 12 points, half PPR, regardless, right? That's what he's been doing for you.
Absolutely. Shout out Tim Patrick. The Catch, the channel that loves Tim Patrick. And Dawson Knox. Ryan Hayes. Also, should I trade Jacobs for Javonte Williams?
D. Williams.
Well,
okay. Yeah.
I'm looking ahead. I'm a dreamer.
You're like 22 vision right there, man.
Josh Jacobs, if that's the case, I would say no.
Really?
Yes.
So, all right, what about this then? What if I said that this guy had a record where he had maybe 1 or 2 losses? And so he's in a position where he can start building for the future. We both think Javonte's going to eventually take over. Josh Jacobs, on the other hand, banged up already. He's had injuries this season. Raiders are kind of more of a shitty situation in general. Is there any part of you that says, let's build for the future, grab Javonte Williams here?
I mean, I want to, but I'm starting to lose some faith in Javonte, man.
It has been a while. I will say it has been
like the last 3 weeks I've been like, all right, boys, this is the week for Javonte Williams. And now I'm like, oh, another 8-point game. Woo.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think what you're saying makes sense. But I think Josh Jacobs is a great play right now.
Yeah, honestly,
and he's a certified RB1, right? And right now you need those certified RB1s, especially this current week. So if it was my personal roster, I would not do the trade.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny when we start talking about it that way. This guy's still not RB1.
Yeah, but sure, what you're saying makes sense. If you're in a good position, I mean, I think if you're trading away Josh Jacobs, quite frankly, you should be able to get more value than just Javonte Williams out of that. So maybe if it was Williams plus at least a low-end wide receiver 2 or RB2 or tight end or quarterback or something, right?
Yeah.
Then let's see here. Jason, if he really needs RB, make him bleed for 1. I like Hill straight up. Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. Gee, what package do you think I could get or I could do to get Ridley? Got Deontay Edmonds, Goodert, Ertz, Boyd, Dillon, and Madison. Honestly, Edmonds and Goodert. Edmonds and I mean, I wouldn't give up Deontay.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
I think Edmonds and Goodert or Boyd is probably the best.
I think the fact that you're packaging a running back here for most fantasy owners, that's going to be very attractive, as well as the fact that whoever's owning Calvin Ridley right now has probably been, for the most part, very disappointed in him this season. So they might be more willing to get off of a guy like him. And I will say this, out of your handcuff running backs, the one guy that I'd be really trying to hold on to is not Alexander Madison. It's Dillon. I think Dillon is going to be a guy that you want to hold on to rest of the season, unless you are really in a pickle.
And I'd hold on to Madison too, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I do think Cooks, I think he's back. I think he's going to be back for a couple weeks, but you just never know. With him.
You don't. You really don't.
But I do agree on A.J. Dillon. We're on the GOAT. What's going on, man? Evening, boys. Are we selling high on JT?
No. This is here to stay.
Be selling a pretty basket of muffins for JT, I tell you.
I think he's going to be a top 5 back rest of the season.
I do too.
Yeah.
Vopsy, what's going on, man? Do I claim Ertz for Melvin Gordon? I wouldn't have a starting RB this week, and my starting tight end right now is Hawk. So you'd be dropping Melvin Gordon for Ertz. Wouldn't have a starting RB this week. Are you dropping? I mean, if that's your best option at running back, then yes. I would check if Ramondre Stevenson's out there. I mean, the Patriots are playing the Jets. Look at the Browns RBs and who's available. Mark Ingram, worth a shot. He's getting double-digit carries. Might score.
Well, so the way I read that was that he's saying he's basically going without a starting running back so that he can get in Ertz there at starting tight end.
Yeah, just clarify that for us, Fopsy, so we can make sure we're getting you a good
Because
answer.
Hawkinson saw 11 targets and 8 catches last week.
Yeah.
And I get the Rams are a bad matchup, but there could be a ton of catch-up opportunity there at the end of the game where he's just getting those kind of catches that don't matter for the actual game, but they help out fantasy owners.
Justin White, to my RBs, sorry, lost my spot, have bye week this week. They are Cook and Najee Harris. Yikes. Swift is available this week, but I need one more to start. So who should I pick up? Give me a few names. Yeah. It's a tough week. It's tough out there. Browns running backs, they should be your number one priority, right? And I would say that Johnson is the guy out of those two. Outside of that, I mean, it depends on how large your league is, right?
Yeah.
Because that's going to determine who's available and who's not. Ramondre Stevenson, if you're very desperate, is worth a shot. Mark Ingram, worth a shot as well. Devonta Freeman, right? Latavius Murray left that week 6 game with an ankle injury. He's looking like he's going to split carries with Tyson Williams and Le'Veon Bell, but he should be the number one guy out of those three, although there is no true number one guy in that backfield, but worth a shot. Kenyon Drake might be out there, might catch a touchdown. We'll see. So those are a couple guys you can at least consider. Maybe Giovanni Bernard if you're absolutely desperate, but it's tough this week.
Yeah, I like the Rams running. I mean, the Browns running backs. I like Ramondre Stevenson maybe even more than you do. I think you like him a lot too, but he's kind of the pass catching running back on this team now too. So if he's available, I would definitely go out and grab him.
Let's see, Vopsy. I would just want Ertz as my tight end too, but if I drop Gordon for him, I wouldn't have RB2 this week since I have 2 RBs on bye. Also, Melvin is my worst player, so I wouldn't be able to drop anyone else. I mean, if you're in a comfortable position to potentially lose this week, and I mean, I'm being serious. I mean, this is like a week where we have to consider things like this and consider valuable waiver wires, like you're saying. So if you're comfortable with that, because, I mean, let's be realistic, Melvin Gordon is probably not going to get you that many points, right? And I would hate to see you lose by 8 points because it happens, right?
He'll get you that.
Yeah, and he might get you those 8 points, right? So those are the things you have to think about. But it's a lot of tough decisions. Personally, I wouldn't do it. I have too much pride. I'm not saying you don't have pride, but I do not want to lose to a lot of, like, it depends on the league, right? Like in our personal league, Steven, I could not do it, right?
Yeah.
Like I have to have someone out there, right? There are other leagues where I consider it, right? My 20-man league, I've considered just not starting someone this week. It's that bad for me. So
I think you also have to evaluate, what position is more valuable to not just you, but also to the league at large. Because in my opinion, gut instinct, I'm not sure I would ever sacrifice a potential RB1 or running back that gets 50% of the carries like a Melvin Gordon for a tight end 2 on my team. And the reason being is just that, like, the running backs are so scarce. That's part of this sob story that we're just going to talk about all night. And I want anything I can get that resembles anything close to a guy who's going to get a ton of carries for his team. That is why we're talking about Felton, who got, 6 touches like all season. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. And that's why I'd be maybe staying away from picking up Ertz, even though I do think he's got good value.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, tight ends are thin. Running backs are much thinner, as it is every year. They're just more than ever, right? So personally, I wouldn't do it. But if you're okay with potentially taking a loss this week, if you're in a good position, then I understand. Understand it. Forgive Jonah, what's going on, man? We'll go ahead. This will be our last question. Then we're going to jump into the must-start RBs, must-start wide receivers of the week. But let us know, guys, if we did miss your question. We will be doing fantasy Q&A directly after our must-start segment. So do not worry, guys, and you guys keep the chat going. Keep your fantasy questions out there as well. Should I trade Woods and Devonta Smith for Scary Terry?
Yeah. My gut says yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather have Terry McLaurin than either of those guys. Devontae Smith has been almost like a guy that you really can't feel confident starting on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
We were gonna play him against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, juiciest matchup he's had in a while. Doesn't do anything. I mean, that's kind of been the story of him. And then you got Robert Woods, who let's take away like a touchdown he had the other week. It's like the guy's not doing anything. He's just had the one game against Seattle. So I would definitely package those guys which are not doing what they should be doing and get a guy like Terry McLaurin who you know is going to eat a ton of targets for this Washington team and is by far the best receiver out of those three.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad trade either. I mean, I like Robert Woods quite a bit. If you got more conviction, Scary Terry, I think it's fine. All right, let's do it. Must start running backs week 7. Ding, 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 ding. It's the time you guys have all been waiting for here at the Catch. All right, get into it, man. It's a bad week. If you have Derrick Henry or Alvin Kamara or Aaron Jones, consider yourself, or Joe Mixon, Cordero Patterson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, consider yourself very lucky this week, right? It's a tough week for running backs this week. If you have Derrick Henry versus the Chiefs or Alvin Kamara versus Seattle, you are like Clint Eastwood in an old Western, and you're like walking into the frame, and you're getting ready to shoot someone in a good way
for the country.
Way. And in a Clint Eastwood way, right? It's tough this week, guys. I really struggled making this list this week. Yikes is all I have to say. A lot of the guys who are making like the top 20 this week are generally closer to like the top 36. Like the injuries and the bye weeks are really, really messing things up. So there's a lot to think about, right? A lot to think about. So we'll go ahead and we'll hop right into it. I might sprinkle out a couple extra names just to give you guys some confidence.
Ooh, I love sprinkles.
Well, Steven loves
sprinkles.
I like sprinkles too. Rainbow sprinkles. Okay. Must start running back of the week for myself is Daryl Henderson, D-Tendies of the LA Rams. Listen, man, 2 touchdowns last week, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. He now has a rushing touchdown in every game this year, except for that week 4 loss to Arizona, which is a pretty stingy matchup. But listen, man, this is the second best matchup that our guy D-Tendies has had all year long. He's balling out, man. I mean, I know this isn't a lot, but he's had at least 17 receiving yards in every game this year. He's relevant on the ground and through the air as well. I got nothing good to say nothing but good things to say about Daryl Henderson. He's about as consistent as a fantasy player that we've had this year. I mean, if it wasn't for that one game he missed, he might be a top 5 running back right now. And if not, he would absolutely be in the top 10, even though it was the toughest matchup, second toughest matchup he would have had all year against Tampa Bay. But listen, man, Detroit is the 31st worst team in the National Football League against opposing running backs. And in case you didn't know, there are 32 teams in the National Football League, so that makes them second to last. Then the week after that,
dude, it's just so juicy. It's just so juicy.
So, I don't have a lot to say, man, other than if you're for some reason concerned about starting Daryl Henderson, right? Just don't be. He's my must start of the week. Get him in your lineup if you own him.
This is, I mean, it's juicier than a whole plate of brisket with barbecue layered all over. That's just what I want you to think about when thinking about starting Henderson this week, man. For Jerry, if you're considering trading Henderson, like seriously, just look at the next matchups coming up. I mean, he's got Detroit, Houston, Tennessee, San Francisco. Like he can easily ball out against all those teams. And honestly, like I don't know how he isn't a top 10 back so far, because you look at his numbers, the guy has literally been perfect like this year. Like he is everything you want out of an RB1 type of player. Obviously, I mean, he missed that week 3 game, but like his injuries, I mean, he's actually kind of held up. I mean, and this matchup this week against Detroit, it like I said, it's so brisket juicy worthy. I'd even consider throwing in Sony Michel because he might fall into the end zone too. I think this is going to be a galore for these running backs. And and you also hit it right on the head too. Henderson is more than just a 2-down back. He can do it on 3rd down too with a really high efficiency.
There's a reason we like D10Ds, and we named him D10Ds moving into the season. Every time I see a picture of him, I just think about how I had to trade him in my 20-man league, and it pains me.
I would literally cut out my liver and trade it for Daryl Henderson right now.
I would too. All right. Josh Jacobs, next on my list, man. Okay, so Josh Jacobs, at least 40 yards from scrimmage every game this year, and at least 1 touchdown in every game that he's played in, except for week 4 against the Chargers. So does that make him touchdown dependent? You could argue, sure. But listen, Philadelphia this week, they are the 27th worst team against opposing running backs in the league. That's quite good, right? And I think it's going to be fairly easy for Jacobs to get a score against the Eagles. And it looks like the Raiders have found out that, hey, when this guy's healthy, we should lean on him, right? So I like this matchup. And once again, I mean, it's pretty thin out there, right? So if you own Jacobs, there's no reason whatsoever why he should not be in your lineup, right? And yeah, he's doing it through the air as well, right? His receiving yards aren't crazy. Once again, similar to Daryl Henderson, right? I mean, in the last 3 weeks, he's had at least 17 receiving yards in each game. It's not a lot, but if you play half PPR or full PPR, right, then he's getting, at least 2 receptions each game. I mean, it helps the stat line, right? So once again, not a lot to say here other than you should consider yourself lucky if you have Josh Jacobs, and it's a great start versus Philadelphia overall.
The first thing that comes
not as excited.
No, hey man, you know how I feel about this guy, but at the end of the day, too, let me just say the first thing that comes to my mind when you say Josh Jacobs this week against Philadelphia is just remembering Leonard Fournette barrel through these defenders like they were JV. And I think Josh Jacobs has a very good opportunity to do similar things too against this defense. And I think they're gonna use him a lot, like you were saying. So I think he's an absolute must start here. I think he has a good chance to finish top 10, not just top 12 on the week. So yeah, I would definitely be plugging and playing Josh Jacobs if I had him on my team.
Plug it and play in.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the affirmation, Stephen. I was a little concerned at first. Damian Harris. This is an interesting one. But listen, man, we were spooked last week about Harris, right? Fumbled against Houston, almost lost the game, banged up with 2 injuries, right? But listen, man, the Jets are one of the worst teams in the National Football League. Are they dead last? No, they're the 30th worst team against opposing running backs. It's pretty bad. He balled out last week, guys, against a very good defense in Dallas Cowboys, right? 101 rushing yards. That was his best total of the entire year. And he got in the end zone. So he's facing the Jets. The odds are that he's going to have another good game. And I think if you're desperate at the position, then Ramondre Stevenson might be hanging around out there as well. And he's worth picking up as well this week. But if you own Harris, don't be spooked this week, guys. It's a great matchup. We're hurting at RBs. We're on bye week, guys. Start Damian Harris. It's as good of a matchup as he's had since week 2 when he played against the Jets. And once again, yes, Damian Harris, relatively touchdown dependent, but he has a very good shot to get in the end zone this coming week.
Yeah, and I think about that run he had against the Jets where he literally carried 5 or 6 defenders, made a couple moves, and got it to the end zone. Harris balled out against the Jets in week 2. And, in the defensive video, we talk about how the Pats, had a tremendous amount of success against this Jets team at large, but that obviously helps the offense out here too. So I think Damian Harris might be seeing a lot of short field as well, right? Because if we think this Patriots defense is going to come out here and ball again, make some turnovers happen, a direct recipient of that is Damian Harris. And I think the Pats system is they're going to continue to try to keep the ground game afloat to make Mac Jones a little bit more comfortable. Because this Jets defense, while it might suck, they can still fly around and be fast, right? And so they're not like an easy defense to go up and scheme against necessarily.
Sure. Okay. Let's see here. Sorry, lost my train of thought. James Conner. Yeah, it's dicey this week, right? Not a lot of big names, but that's what this segment is actually really for, right? So James Conner, right? We had that amazing stretch week 3 through week 5 where he had 5 total touchdowns and a kind of a quiet game against Cleveland last week. But interestingly enough, it was actually his best performance from a rushing standpoint all season long, and he had 16 touches, guys. This week he gets Houston, who is surprisingly a lot better against opposing running backs than you think, but they're still 20th in the league against opposing running backs. And I feel like our guy James Conner is due for a touchdown. So I've got good conviction overall in James Conner this week, right? And as Steven alluded to earlier in the stream, this game could get out of hand very early, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just got one of those feelings. We see James Conner in the end zone. We might not see a lot of work from him towards the end of this game unless the Texans surprise us, which they've surprised us plenty of times this year, and they keep this game competitive. But either way, I like the game script for James Conner, and I can definitely see him getting in the end zone and coming off his best rushing performance of the year. I think it's a very good start overall.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would actually argue that I think he's going to be used well until the end of the game because
Sure.
there's probably more of an incentive if they do kind of follow what Vegas has. I mean, Vegas has this at 17.5 point spread, right? So they think this is going to be an absolute drumming, right?
Yeah.
So with that said, I think, past thought would be that they're going to be running the ball in the fourth quarter to just drain the clock. And James Conner is more of that fourth quarterback that you would see doing that. And I mean, it is wild. We're putting James Conner in the must starts. I don't think we've done that since he was in Pittsburgh.
Right.
But hey, man, he's relevant, and I definitely think he can ball out against this Texans team.
Absolutely. I mean, there are the Texans. Is it surprising to you that Deandre Swift is RB9 on the season right now?
I think it's surprising when you look at where we had him coming into the year, for sure. Yeah. He stayed healthy. He stayed healthy.
He has. I've got him as must start, my last must start of the week against the Rams, which, listen, man, the Rams are good against the run, but they're not as good as they're kind of alluded to. I mean, they're 14th in the league, which is good. Don't get me wrong, right? That's very good. But
you were about to do the math right there.
I was, but that's too much math for me, right? But nonetheless, man, like you have to start Swift this week if you own him, right? And listen, he's had a touchdown in his last 2 games. And yes, the games where he has not scored, he's finished under 10 points. But nonetheless, man, you got to start him. You got to start him this week. If you have Deandre Swift, consider yourself lucky. There's not a lot I can do to give you full confidence because the Rams are surprisingly over the last 3 weeks, right? For this, I will pull up the numbers, right? So if the Rams are ranked 14th, Cincinnati, who we saw in week 6, ranked 16th. Minnesota, who we saw in week 5, are ranked 18th. And Chicago, who we saw in week 4, are ranked 11th. So out of those 3 games, his worst performance was against Chicago, where that was his worst performance all year. Mm-hmm. But against Minnesota and Cincinnati, he had at least 15 points, depending on scoring format. So this is just a player that the Lions have to lean on, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of options, okay? And I mean, the way that this game is going to go, I think he's going to have to be involved. So I would start him, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. And odds are, if you own him, you probably have to start him anyway. So I'm just trying to give confidence to some of these guys who people might be going back and forth on, are not feeling as confident in being maybe their RB1s, right? Maybe you own, I'm trying to think of who's on bye week, and I just totally blanked.
Austin Eckler.
Maybe you own Austin Eckler. Thank you, Steven. And you also own Leonard Fournette, or Daryl Henderson, right? And you have Zeke, right? DeAndre Swift, right? I mean, these matchups, while they're a little bit tougher, we have to remember what true RB1 value is, right? And the volume that comes along with it. So, yeah, I do like Swift this week overall.
Yeah, and I think the stickiest stat that you can really point to with DeAndre Swift, that's going to also be the most important thing for him hitting that must start, is the fact that the lowest amount of targets this guy has seen this season is 5 targets. Like, this guy has been amazing in the passing game with the Detroit Lions. He's had 7, 6, 6, and 7 the 4 weeks leading to this game. And I think going up against the Rams, if I'm an OC, my first thought is how the hell can I get the ball out of Jared Goff's hand as soon as possible so I can just get away from Aaron Donald and not let Jared Goff make a boneheaded mistake and throw it to the secondary, which looks like they're starting to hit their stride and get just as turnover hungry as they were the past couple of years. So I definitely think this is going to be a situation where Deandre Swift could see a lot of receiving work that makes him a very productive running back this year or this week.
Point. Yeah, I think it's a great point. Okay, that does it for me, but I do. I mean, those are my must-start guys, right? I do want to just go over very quickly. There's a couple other guys out there, right? Leonard Fournette's got the Chicago Bears, who are the 11th best team against opposing running backs, like we just discussed. Still start him. If you own him, start him. Okay. Joe Mixon has Baltimore. Baltimore, while we think of them as this team that's very good against opposing running backs, they have not been good this year, right? Start Joe Mixon if you own him. Two guys that I really do want to mention and make sure you guys are aware of or that are out there and have a great matchup this week. Cordero, Pounder and Cheese, and Mike Davis against Miami. Start them.
Start both of them. Yeah, love those guys.
Right. A guy who's kind of being forgotten about this week is Jonathan Taylor against San Francisco. Once again, another defense who in our minds are like, oh yeah, Joey Bosa. Jonathan Taylor is a must start this week. Yeah, I didn't bring him up because I think at this point he should be solidified as a must start. Chuba Hubbard's got the Giants. Once again, it's a pretty good matchup. Daryl Williams, although Tennessee played very good against Zach Moss and Devin Singletary last night. The way we saw Daryl Williams get involved, Steve and I were both wrong on that guess. We both did not see that coming, and he played very well against Washington. I don't think we're going to see 24 touches again out of him, but he was used a lot in the red zone and in the passing game, so that's exactly what you want out of an RB1. So once again, I would start him with confidence as well. Those are really the only guys out there.
You're missing a name for me. You're missing a name for me.
Okay.
Mr. J.D. McKissick. I think he's going to be a guy that you can absolutely play this week, especially if you're a PPR format, because Antonio Gibson, I don't know what to do with him right now as a fantasy owner. His calf, his shins, everything's jacked up. This guy's probably going to miss this week, maybe another week. But either way, the amount of carries this guy gets is going to be low. They're also playing Green Bay. This is going to be a script that fits right accordingly to J.D. McKissick. And he cooks in these kind of scenarios. He's like they're literally like their second read as a receiver because they're so banged up sometimes in the receiving core. I mean, they got Ricky Seals-Jones too, I guess, to complement Terry McLaurin. But you get my point, man. J.D. McKissick has a great opportunity here against Green Bay.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to cap off the segment because I 100% agree with you. Yep. So there you have it. Must start RBs on the week, and a lot of other names thrown out there because this is Biocalypse or whatever they're calling it. So, yeah. All right. Let's start wide receivers by Steven Scott.
Yeah, man. So I think the number one guy I got this week, first off, if you saw the play he did last week, that juke move he did, but DeAndre Hopkins, man. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is going to absolutely cook. There's no way I couldn't make him my number one. This is his revenge tour going up against Houston. Him and J.J. Watt, I think they're going to absolutely come here with the chip on their shoulder. These guys got traded for scraps. The Texans said, we don't even want you, DeAndre Hopkins. He gets to come back there. He gets to show them what's up. And I think him and Kyler Murray just light this team up. And I think DeAndre Hopkins has one of his performances where you're like, wow, this is that dude. This is one of the best receivers in football. Last week, he had 4 targets only, but got 55 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what he did against the Browns, man. This guy can do it in the red zone. But this week, I think he's going to do more than that. I really do. He might not get 2 touchdowns, but I think he's going to get more yards because that's kind of the one thing we've been missing from DeAndre this year. He has not had 100 yards receiving all season. Closest he had was week 1 with 83 yards. Actually, no. Closest he had was against San Francisco where he had 87. But he's gotten a fair amount of touchdowns, so he's getting those red zone looks. But the yards total has not been there yet. But I think they're going to force feed it to him, right? Because that's the one thing you can do when you do see those teams when they're clearly better than the opposing team in a matchup like this. Sometimes they let their superstars cook. And another reason for that too is, man, this Cardinals team is one of those player-friendly teams where they're going to want guys like that to do that just for player morale. So, man, I don't know, man. I can't write enough of a game script for how good this could potentially be for DeAndre Hopkins.
Absolutely agree. It's the best matchup he's had all season long, and not by like a little by a lot.
Yeah.
It's truly the best matchup. I mean, this is the 5th worst team in the league against. Actually, no, I got that backwards. How is Houston the
I don't
5th?
know. I really didn't know. I was gonna bring that up earlier.
I got that way backwards.
They're somehow like the hardest opponent against like every
Okay,
team.
I don't even care. I don't care.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It
Scratch
really
that, guys.
it doesn't
Scratch
matter.
that. But I will say, right, 10 red zone targets on the season for DeAndre Hopkins, 6 touchdowns, 60%. That's a D.
Yeah,
in school,
not in football, not in
D
football,
Hopkins. D Hopkins.
Oh, I like that. I like what you're doing.
Touchdown, TD.
I like what
I think he gets some TDs this week. There's my logic for you, man.
That was good logic right there.
Yeah, better than the first logic that I was just wrong on.
Up next, my number 2 must-start receiver going into this week is going to be Calvin Ridley. This is a guy who was going to be the must-start receiver before the bye week against the Jets in that international game. But what we saw happen is that Calvin Ridley, he had some personal issues, so he wasn't able to suit up. They had a lot of injuries, man, that looked kind of banged up. But Matt Ryan and his offense still looked like they were improving, right? They've been hitting their stride week over week. They've been getting stronger. I think Arthur Smith is starting to develop something here with Matt Ryan. I think Calvin Ridley comes into his own this week against Miami's defense, which is 30th in all of football against against receivers. I really love this matchup. I know you guys were talking about Calvin Ridley, maybe trading for him, maybe trading off of him. I think this is where he really starts to hit his peak here, where he really starts to get into a groove. And being that true number 1 target in this Atlanta Falcons offense.
Yeah. So exact point I was trying to make with DeAndre Hopkins. Right? This is the 30th worst team against opposing wide receivers, and it is Calvin Ridley's best matchup of the entire season. When he faced Tampa Bay in Week 2, which are the 28th worst team against opposing wide receivers, he had his best game of the entire season. Once again, man, through weeks 2 and week 4, Calvin Ridley had 8 red zone targets. Okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't play against the Jets, gets a bye week. Who's to say he doesn't have another 4 red zone targets this week, right? Yeah, completely agree with this one. I think it's a fantastic matchup. Love the Falcons players this week.
Yeah, and I mean, outside of week 1 where he had 7 points, I mean, in every game he's played so far, it's not like his floor has killed you. Like, he has had double-digit points. So, I mean, that's what you're going to see out of Calvin Ridley just because he is such a superstar player and is such a focus of this offense that even if he doesn't have one of his crazy 20-plus point games, he's still probably going to give you a safe 10 points and not lose it for you, right?
Absolutely.
Got a risky guy coming up here at number 3.
Got to risk it for the biscuit.
Let me just ask you. You watched that Bills game, right, against the Titans Monday night? Fun game, right?
Yeah.
What was one of the biggest things that came out of that game for me was, man, that number 11, he looked pretty good. AJ Brown looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I like AJ Brown this week going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Ryan Tannehill looked like he was starting to get it together, especially with AJ Brown and Julio, right? But guess what happens, right? Julio goes down with an injury, right? Now Julio's back out of the game, probably going to be out this week if he's not already ruled out. I think AJ Brown comes in here and he just starts being the guy that we all thought he was going to be coming into the season. I mean, he didn't do jack shit, I don't think, in the first half. I don't even know if he had a catch. Comes out in the second half and has 9 targets.
He didn't have a catch.
Yeah, he catches 7 passes in the second half, 91 yards, finished with 12.5 points and half PPR. I mean, the dude, that's what he can do, man. He's massive. He's built like DK Metcalf. He can run like DK Metcalf. It's just about opportunity. And I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be put in a position where he's got a dual Patrick Mahomes. I love this recipe right here. It's great.
Absolutely agree. Listen, man. Weeks 1 and 2, DK Metcalf had at least 8 targets, and we haven't seen him healthy since until last night. And the Bills are the 3rd best team in the entire National Football League against opposing wide receivers, and he had his 2nd best game of the entire season. So yeah, I completely agree. The game script is there. He looked great. I hope he's fully healthy, but I do agree. This is the time of year where AJ Brown starts to get good.
Yeah, and I think he's going to put us all in that quandary again next year where we're evaluating fantasy boards of where do you put AJ Brown? Because when he can do it with the best of them. But I think this is what's going to happen. He's just going to start cooking here, And I would definitely plug him in your lineups and definitely start him this week. Don't worry about those performances he was doing before.
Right.
Going right back to the wishing well, guys. DJ Moore is my next must-start receiver this week. We got a couple guys that are going to be featured in this game. We're just going to start with DJ Moore, who is Mr. Target Machine. The best news that could have happened is Christian McCaffrey going out long-term for DJ Moore. For DJ Moore. Because what does that mean? That means that all those targets that would be siphoned away, those are now going to continue to stay with DJ Moore. And I think you can ride him as long as Christian McCaffrey's out, right? But you look at these last couple of weeks, you see 8 points and 6 points. You're like, what the hell's going on? It's not been that productive. I get that. It's quite rare that somebody would have 5 receptions on 13 targets for only 70 yards and not really do much of a fantasy performance. But I really like this opportunity to go up against the Giants. I think Sam Darnold and him are going to get on the right page here. I just think it's a good situation right here. You get to come into a guy who's going to see 10 plus targets this game. You can't say that for a lot of receivers in the league right now.
Yeah, it is interesting because over the last 2 weeks, while Christian McCaffrey's been out, he's has 2 worst performances. Don't get me wrong. That first game with Chris McCaffrey out against Houston, right? And then the second game, at least that was a game where it seems he got hurt. Then the second game back against Dallas, there's 2 best games on the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, other than week 2, too. But anyways, so it's just interesting, right? It's interesting. But I completely agree. He needs kind of bounce back to some of those big performances. And I could definitely see it this week against the Giants. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the thing with DJ Moore, too, is that, when you're watching this guy, like if you're actually watching his game film, he's so leaps and bounds above the competition in terms of athleticism, his breakaway speed, right? So this is a guy you rarely ever want to even consider putting on your bench, but when he's getting that many opportunities too, it's very clear that Matt Rule has identified him as a key focus to engineer this offense going, to actually do something.
Sure.
And I saw a comment in the chat about Robbie Anderson getting targets. Should we be worried about that? Absolutely not, man. He looks bad with his targets too, man. He was dropping balls, man. Robbie Anderson does not look good. I seriously don't think you have to worry about anybody. I think Terrence Marshall's also banged up and going to be out this week as well. So, who are they going to give it to, right? So I definitely think DJ Moore has a good opportunity this week, and you can definitely start him. And with my next receiver here, same game, different team, same situation. Sterling Shepard. He's back. He is back, baby. And he's doing exactly what he was doing those first couple of weeks before getting injured. He had 12 points, 12 and a half points and a half PPR against the Rams. And that's against the Rams, man. Kadarius Toney is out. Galladay's banged up. This whole team is banged up, it seems. Booker is not as Saquon Barkley. This is where the ball is going to go when Daniel Jones throws it, man. That is his best friend. We have seen it all season. This is a guy potentially is on the waivers, right? If he's somehow on your waivers, which maybe somebody cut him because he was injured, and on the Giants, definitely snag him. As I think you can start him this week going up against the Panthers.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I love the start. I wish I drafted Shepard. Yeah.
I know, right? It's weird though. We wouldn't have thought that he would have balled out this much. I think we highlighted him as like a late round steal potential, but I don't think we saw this much of an opportunity for him to rise. But with what he was able to do against these LA Rams corners and defense, I definitely think he's going to be able to carry that over against the Carolina Panthers for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now we're starting to get into a little bit of more of the sleeper picks here, or maybe not as much of the sexy picks. And yes, I include Sterling Shepard as one of the sexy picks, even though he's like ranking 42 in the season. But my first guy here, you might have a little bit of qualms with. That's Mr. Cortland Sutton for the Denver Broncos going up against Cleveland, the 27th worst defense against receivers. Jerry Jeudy's still out. Tim Patrick obviously is there too, but my biggest concern for him potentially in this game could just be that maybe the game script gets a little messy. I think the over-under is pretty low. But, the target volume this guy is seeing on a weekly basis, I really don't want to go away from that. This guy's seeing – how many targets did he get last week? I think he had 8 catches, 14 targets last week against the Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
Since Teddy Bridgewater has kind of been the guy, Cortland Sutton's bounced around a little bit, but the target volume has been steady and has been there all year.
I like that pick. And
Really?
yeah, I mean, of course, I like Tim Patrick and an injured Jerry Jeudy more, but no, I really do like Cortland Sutton this week.
Yeah.
And Cleveland's kind of in shambles.
Yeah.
And Denver needs to prove something right now, right? And this is their chance to do so.
Yeah,
so,
it's a get-right game, too, after getting their ass beat against a division rival in a game that a lot of people picked to have them win. So I think this is a good opportunity for them to come back here strong against the Browns.
Yeah, I like this game script a lot. Actually, for both teams, too, because Cleveland kind of needs to prove something and get a dub as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I like that pick.
And two other guys here that I want to mention. I'll go through them real quick. Darnell Mooney for the Chicago Bears. I think you can kind of flip a coin a little bit between Robinson and Mooney, but I will say this. I am very scared about starting Allen Robinson, whereas I'm not as scared about starting Darnell Mooney against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team because Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields have a chemistry that has been building all season, and he's been good, honestly, on the year since coming over and getting healthy. 13 points last week, 5 the week before that, and then 16 against Detroit. I think the opportunity against Tampa Bay is very good here. I definitely think he's going to have a lot of opportunities to take in all the passes that Justin Fields throws, but they can also be productive catches and targets as well, too, just because this Tampa Bay secondary is obviously beat up, right? And Jalen Hurts wasn't able to do a whole lot with it, but I'm going to go right back to the wishing well and have the same kind of script against them. The one thing that kind of separates Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts in my mind is the fact that Jalen Hurts will run it, right? Which takes away from the receiving core, took away from Devontae Smith. Justin Fields dead ass, just has not run it so far this season. He has not been a mobile quarterback. He is stuck in the pocket and he has thrown it. So I think that's what we're going to continue to see, and that's going to be what happens against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, there's only one game this year where Mooney's had less than 5 targets, and only 2 games this year where he's had 5 targets or less. He's had about 7 or 8 targets in almost every single game this year. So, yeah, I like this pick as well. It is the worst secondary that the Bears have faced all year. So, yeah, I think it's a great pick, a great sleeper pick as well.
Yeah, and my last sleeper on the week is Jaylen Waddle. I looked at him to come back and have another good performance here against the Atlanta Falcons. He absolutely cooked this Jacksonville team. 13 targets, 10 catches. He cooked, man. 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. We saw why he was the top receiver taken in the draft, man. He's just such an explosive player. But going up against the Atlanta Falcons, the 23rd worst defense in all of football against receivers, I think the matchup is obviously there. I think this is a game that could be pretty high scoring, right? Despite both these offenses not being like the sexiest option, I think there's a lot of opportunity for scoring here. And also I want to add too, I mean, Tua, where he has not been amazing, he's throwing it more than any quarterback in the league. This Dolphins team is throwing it more than any offense in the league for some god awful reason. I don't know, because they're not good at it. That's probably why they're losing so many games. But I don't think that's going to change, right? And Jaylen Waddle he's a target machine with Tua too. We've seen them have good chemistry. So I think this is a good matchup here. And this is definitely a guy that has probably been on your bench for a good part of the season so far.
I love this pick as well. And the chemistry between him and Tua is absolutely real.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely real. I mean, he was bad when our guy, the Brisket, was out there. Right?
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett does not have the same chemistry built up with Waddle. Mm-hmm. And we saw that last week for sure. So, yeah, and I do love this matchup overall. This is a matchup we want to be exploiting from both sides, Miami and Atlanta. And, yeah, I think it's an absolutely great pick. Absolutely.
Yeah. And a couple other guys I'll just quickly mention. I mean, I think Devontae Adams is going to absolutely embarrass the Washington football team defense. Hot take over here at the catch. I think Devo Samuel has a great matchup with Jimmy Garoppolo coming back up against the Colts. I do think the Colts defense can make some plays against this offense, but I think Devo Samuel is going to have a lot of opportunities to do whatever he pleases. Brandon Cooks against Arizona Cardinals. I think he'll have a good game as well. My only concern is, potentially this game script goes differently. And maybe this is more like a Bills-Texans game where the defense just beats the shit out of the Texans all day and Cooks just doesn't have the opportunity. And, another guy to just keep in mind on, Jacoby Myers against the Jets. This is the number one read for this Patriots offense. Target machine. Got his touchdown called back last week. Obviously, that was depressing. Maybe he's coming back for another touchdown, right?
Maybe.
But with that said, man, that's the must-start receivers on the week, baby.
There we go. There's a segment for you guys. Must-start RBs, must-start wide receivers. Let us know what you guys thought. Let us know what your guys' questions are as well. All right, I'm going to scroll back up to where we left off. So we'll get back into the fantasy chat here. Oh, gosh, I lost a couple spots. Okay. We'll start from where we can. If we missed your question, guys, just let us know, and we'll get right back to them. All right, Jerry, Daryl Williams is only good until CEH is back. I do agree. Coming from a Daryl Williams owner, agree with that, Jerry. JM, what's going on, man? When CEH is back, I don't really trust either of them. Fair enough. Joe, I got Henry, Swift, Mixon, and Robinson on a bye. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's about as bad as it gets. But Mixon's not on a bye week this week. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got Henry, Swift, Mixon, and Robinson on a bye. I was like, that sounds bad. But no, yeah. Those three guys we talked about, most of those guys. I read that wrong. Sorry. Yeah. You're probably in good shape, Joe, if you got Henry, Swift, and Mixon. Then.
Yeah.
Bruisen, should I trade Najee for Jonathan Taylor and Michael Thomas? I'd say no.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be a top 5 pick, and that doesn't change in this analysis. But I think Najee Harris has the chance to be a top 3 back rest of the season. So I don't know if there's another back outside of, maybe Derrick Henry that I'm taking over him. So, yeah,
and
man.
I will say this too. Like, sure, Michael Thomas could come back and be productive, but he's also like the key player that fantasy owners are trying to trade right now at high value, trying to present him as high value.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that value yet. So just be cautious, guys, when it comes to Michael Thomas.
He doesn't want to be in New Orleans either.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'd say just be cautious of Michael Thomas, guys. Let's see here. JM, who are your top 5 wide receivers going forward that aren't Hill and Adams in full PPR? That's a great question. There's a couple guys that come to mind right away for me.
He said
Cooper
not
Kupp.
Hill and Adams.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp is still our wide receiver 1 on the year, guys. So for me, it's absolutely Cooper Kupp. Jamar Chase, right up there for me. Oh, wow. Wow. Those guys are locked in for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I mean, I think another guy that we need to put here is Stephon Diggs. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Stephon Diggs. So we got Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase is another great option here. I think Justin Jefferson definitely has the opportunity as well.
Yeah.
And then I would also say that that 5th guy here, I'm not scared off by a guy like I don't know, man, maybe even a little bit of DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. I think the biggest thing with him is just like the fact that there are so many mouths to feed. But outside of him too, I mean, I really do think that there is a potential here that if Mike Williams is healthy, that he can be in that mix.
Sure.
We are seeing a consistent level out of Mike Williams that is better than a lot of these other guys.
Absolutely. All right, lost the spot again. Brennan Dye, somebody just dropped Logan Thomas. Should I drop Tony for him? Or should I drop Mooney? I kind of need to start this week, though. I think Logan Thomas is a great player to stash right now. I mean, he should be back in a week or 2.
Ricky Seals-Jones has been looking really good, though, man. Do you think there's going to phase him out? You don't think they're going to include him?
I don't think I can see Ricky Seals-Jones still getting playing time, but
he's been playing really well.
Yeah.
He's only missed 2 snaps, or actually 1 snap, I believe, since taking over at the tight end position. At least I see more of a carousel between these tight ends. I mean, I don't know, man. Kadarius Toney, when he's healthy, man, that guy's explosive as all hell, man. He looked good right before the injury.
Brendan, I would say it depends on how badly you need a tight end.
Yeah.
Wild Boy Trey, is Eli Mitchell from San Fran a good pickup at RB? If you're absolutely desperate this week due to injuries and bye weeks, then yes. If you're not, then I would say no.
I don't mind Eli Mitchell this week, to be honest.
It's not a bad matchup this week. But,
no, it's a pretty good matchup, and I think his role is about as clear as it's going to be, until Jeff Wilson gets there as well. So, and Jimmy Garoppolo coming back off of injury, I wouldn't expect for them to just start, wheeling and dealing it with him. They might try to be, a little bit conservative with his cap and try to run it a little bit more.
When are you going to put in a waiver for Jeff Wilson?
Dude, I've been talking about it for a a little bit now. I don't know if anybody in our league outside of us two is hip.
Yeah, I look at him like every week, and I'm like,
Yeah, honestly, I'm so scared by this whole backfield. I don't know.
I am too. That's what I come back to.
I'm going to be late to the party. I actually think I totally screwed up by letting Eli Mitchell go because he's not been bad at all.
You also let Zach Moss go.
Yeah, that was a little different. The guy was a healthy scratch.
And AJ Dillon go.
No, I still got him.
Well, you let him go.
Yeah, I let him go, and I picked him right back up.
Yeah.
What, are you just trying to throw that on my face?
Yeah, I am. Joe, someone dropped Calvin Ridley on his bye. I got him for nothing. Let's go, Joe.
Now you got to start of the week. Yeah. That's a nice come up right there.
Wild Prodigy, trade time. What do you guys think? CMC for J-Rob and Terry, or J-Rob for Godwin, or should I hold on to CMC?
Not Godwin.
Yeah, I think J-Rob and Terry McLaurin is a fair trade, but just I'll say it every time you guys bring up a CMC trade. Just think about what you're losing down the stretch, because I do firmly believe that Christian McCaffrey will be healthy down the stretch in those games that are going to position yourself into the fantasy playoffs, and once you're in the fantasy playoffs as well. But at the same time, I'm still concerned about this injury overall. It's just if you're going to take the gamble, you just have to realize what you're going to lose potentially as well, right?
Yeah. And I'll say this, at first I kind of read that wrong. I thought he would be getting Godwin for trading Robinson. Now I'm reading it differently. You should absolutely make that deal if you can to trade Chris Godwin, which is honestly been kind of like the third least valuable receiver so far for this Buccaneers offense.
Yeah, I read that wrong too.
And Gronkowski's not even been there, right? So when Gronk comes back, that's even less of a value for Godwin. So if I could get Robinson right now, I mean, oh my gosh, I would trade even more than Godwin for Robinson right now. So if you can get that deal done, definitely snag that.
I do agree. I think that's a very good deal.
Probably do it now too on the bye week, because that's probably the best time to do it.
I would rather see hold on to Christian McCaffrey and trade Chris Godwin for James Robinson all day long.
Yeah.
That would definitely position you very well down the stretch. Let's see here. Joe, should I start Devo or AJ Brown? Stephen liked both of those guys in the segment.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, AJ Brown made the list. I'm more confident in AJ Brown this week as a must-start receiver for a couple different reasons. But I think these are both guys that I would want to have the chance to start both of them, right? So I don't know what your situation is. Please let us know what the rest of your roster looks like, because if there's a way where you can start both Devo and AJ, I think that's the way you're optimizing your lineup this week for sure. But if it's just between these two, I'm still going to give the nod to AJ Brown, despite the fact that the consistency definitely leans in Devo's favor over the season.
Nick Brandon, I need help. Do I start Ertz? He's my only tight end. Cook is on bye. I have zero FAB budget. Yeah,
you might. Yeah, you might be kind of put into a corner there, man. Not sure what other options you might be in. But yeah, I think Ertz a good play regardless.
Yeah. Bossman Fat, stream Tannehill this week. I don't mind him as a stream this week at all. But surprisingly, over the last week or two, Kansas City has played much better in the secondary. And they always do this, right?
Yeah, they do.
They start off like
horrible,
and then they just slowly get to the point where we're like, mediocre. Okay, they're at least respectable and they can back up this offense. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's what's happening. I wouldn't bank on it, but there might be better options out there, right? Matt Ryan, Derek Carr.
I'm taking
Tua,
Tannehill. I'm taking Tannehill over all those guys.
that's fine too. I
I
don't
love
mind that.
Tannehill this week, and I get it. I get what you're saying there with Kansas City, but I like this. I like that start. I will say this in the Catch Fam League, I was sorely disappointed when I found out Tannehill was not on waivers. I thought he would have been a great streaming option this week against Kansas City.
Sorry, I just saw Kel's 22 at the bottom here. Should I drop Knox for Goddard with Knox hand injury? Do not drop Dawson Knox, guys.
Okay, all right,
Don't
dude.
drop him.
Okay, dude, we're talking about Goddard here, who without Ertz now. Okay, this guy's got a hand injury, man.
It's true.
Let's be unbiased in this analysis,
right.
John.
So
I'll
Dawson
hand it
Knox,
off to you.
Before COVID, right? Top 10 tight end. So absolutely, it's a great replacement, right? But we don't know. The indications I've read is that Dawson Knox won't be out that long. So while you can't immediately place him on IR because he doesn't have the designation, I don't think you should drop him. I do think Goddard is a fine replacement for now.
Yeah.
But before the injury, Knox top 3 tight end on the season.
Yeah.
So don't lose that value. But yes, if you can drop another player and pick up Goddard, I think it's much better. And there is a possibility that Knox will be given an IR destination. Then you can move him to IR. If you don't already have David Montgomery, Christian McCaffrey, or Russell Wilson, or the 7 other players on IR out there right now. But I just would hate for you to lose that value overall. Because down the stretch, if you have Goddard and Knox, probably going to be very favorable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I get to your question, Kel's 22, saw you put it in there a couple times and some sirens out there. So we will respond to siren emojis for sure. But thank you for the question. Let us know if you have any others. And I mean, if it concerns Dawson Knox, skip ahead. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's really why you did it there. I don't think it had anything to do with the sirens.
As I see you saying now, I'll drop Brandon Ayuk for Goddard. I think that's a good move.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a great move.
Of course, now he's gonna pop off, just knowing how frustrating of a player he has been all season.
I mean, he might, but he's been so wildly inconsistent this year that
I bad.
Sure.
Yeah.
Look at you using
I
words.
I still own him.
Mr. Carolina gets Gilmore, so they're going to get more or get some short field opportunities. Man, Stephon Gilmore is coming to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun to watch. Yeah. Sorry, had to get some water in my system.
Oh my gosh.
Chase Brown. Okay, so I need a QB, wide receiver, possibly another, since I don't want to start Boyd, and a defense. Dropping Damien Williams for Tua and Parker for Boyd. Dropping Cowboys defense for Cards. Good moves. Yes. I'm sorry, I read that backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Those are all good moves. Great moves for the week. Absolutely. But the way the Cowboys defense has been playing, if you can drop a skill position player and hold on to the Cowboys, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that the Cardinals will be good down the stretch as well. But
yeah,
you could also pick up Mooney, Dean Ernst Johnson of the Browns. Feeling Parker or Mooney. I kind of like Mooney over Parker, and I think Steven would agree.
Yeah, I definitely like Mooney over Parker, even though Parker has seen good target volume when he's been healthy. But yeah, I also just want to say, I mean, Dallas has a bye week this week, obviously, so that's not attractive. But then the next week after that, they got Minnesota. I don't know. I mean, I think Arizona, they'll have Green Bay. That's definitely a tougher matchup. So my question is, do you agree with trading or getting rid of Damian Williams for Tua? That's an RB1 without Montgomery, right?
I think Herbert's stolen the show, man.
He did look better. He did look better.
He looks way better.
Yeah.
I think Herbert's the guy.
We said it here early at the catch, man. We said it literally 3 or 4 weeks before this even happened.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be fair. You said it, not me. But
I was gonna let you bask in it.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's Tua, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Andrea, who should I pick up? Dallas, Goodart, Ricky Seals-Jones, Zach Ertz, PPR need buy replacement. they're all great options, quite frankly.
Ricky Seals-Jones.
Steven has the most conviction in Seals-Jones, and I don't hate him for it. On the season, Goddard's been the best out of those guys. We maybe want to take a pause on Zach Ertz, like Steven alluded to earlier in the stream. A lot more targets in this offense, right? And we maybe want to see how this role plays out. I don't think either of us are doubting what Zach Ertz will do in this offense, but maybe we do just want to be a little hesitant and sit back.
I like the seal here, man. I like the seal.
Steven likes the seal. There you go. Okay. Any new faces out there who are joining us tonight? Make sure you guys go and consider subscribing down below, becoming part of the Catch fam tonight. And guys, if you haven't done so already, I haven't even asked once tonight. Go ahead as a collective, as a Catch fam, smash that like button, man. Let's try and get as many new viewers to these streams as possible tonight. And we truly do appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Look at this. You guys are killing it tonight. Look at this chat. Blammer time. Did I miss any mention of Corey Davis? I do not believe so, but I will mention Corey Davis's worst performance of the year is against New England Patriots. And what other X factor do the Jets have to take away? Maybe Crowder, but it's going to be Davis. And I've got Davis in both my primary leagues, and I'm hurting both my primary leagues. I'm probably going to have to start him in my 20-man league. I'm not expecting more than 5 points. His worst performance, full PPR, 2.8 points against Pats earlier this year. So I don't feel great about Corey Davis, if you're asking me, blame time. Nick Brandon, I take Eckler over Najee personally. Don't mind that. I think Steven would agree with you for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Steven just got super excited about himself.
Well, yeah, I think I'm still a little butthurt off of whatever the hell performance that was against the fucking Ravens this week. That was ridiculous, but yeah, I'll let it slide, Austin. You've been good for me.
Okay. There you go. They're on a first name basis.
Yeah.
Hey, dog. Okay. Wow. Wild Boy Trey, is Eli Mitchell a good pickup at running back? Yeah, we kind of went over this earlier. If you're desperate, sure. And if not, for now, he should be seeing the primary volume. So just don't bank, on this being an RB1 he can start throughout the season. The way the Niners deploy their starting or not starting, their running backfield.
They don't even have a starting running back. That's how they do it.
It's honestly worse than the Ravens, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Matt, Tua, Burrow, or Tannehill this week? I think I'd say Tua and Steven would say Tannehill. And we both would say Burrow is a pretty good option too.
Yeah, I would go Tannehill, Burrow, Tua.
Yeah.
Man, it's just like, I get it. This Ravens team, apparently they're tough and all. I mean, they did a lot to Justin Herbert and the Chargers, but the Ravens have also given up a shit ton of air yards this season.
That's true.
I think this Chargers game was super fluky, man. I mean, nobody did anything against the Ravens for the Chargers team. So I'm not too scared off of this. I think Joe Burrow and this offense is going to have a ton of opportunities in a division game to do what they do best, which is chuck that ball deep and you let Jamar Chase make some plays happen. So I like him this week.
I don't hate it either. Yeah. Also, who do you guys see starting for the Bears this week, Khalil or Damien? I think they'll both get touches, but I think I truly personally believe that Khalil's stolen the show here.
He was a draft pick. I think that also goes in his favor too. They actually went out and drafted this guy. I get it. They also brought in Williams, who has history with Nagy. So, they both are acquisitions, but I think there's more to it being drafted. That is the entire team putting a stake in you. I think they want Herbert to succeed, right? And they want to see him kind of be that RB2 guy right behind Montgomery when he's healthy.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is like, it scares me for Montgomery.
On
the only league that I own Montgomery, I also own Herbert. So I'm like, okay. Actually, no, it's not true. That's not true in the Catch family. I own Montgomery as well. But
I'm worried about Montgomery when he comes back because I don't think he's going to see the volume he used to. That's just my personal take, but with that injury, I think they're going to be much more inclined to do a little bit of a committee because before it was like 100% Montgomery.
Don't you talk about?
I know you don't want to hear it, man, but if Herbert continues to do well,
don't you do that, Steven? Shame on you.
Don't put that
this guy 12 says Devo.
Yeah,
That was
Devo reference to
response.
Devo and AJ Brown, I think.
Okay.
Fair pick.
Justin Hammond's got a lot of players on bye. Need a running back. Should I go with D Johnson? Yes, I do think so. But I think it's fair to note that I don't think we should be expecting a giant ceiling out of Johnson this week.
Nope.
I don't think this game is going to be very pretty for the Browns at all. Denver's been good against the run. They haven't really been that good defensively, like as good as we've been alluded to believe, right? Majority of their points in their fantasy ranking came against the Jets. So, and like their first 3 games were the Jets, Giants, and
Jags.
And the Jags. So,
yeah.
It's gotten worse ever since. So yeah, just tamper expectations. But if you're desperate, man, I do think it's worth the pickup. Jerry, I'm riding with Seals Jones till the wheels fall off.
Let's get it, baby. Ride that sail.
There you go. Joshua trade Tyreek for Alvin Kamara. I have Saquon and Robinson running backs, Lamb and Chase for receivers.
I think we need to seriously start talking about Hill's trade value. I
think that's a fair trade.
And I was at the Washington game, and Hill was leaving the field like every 3 plays. He is banged up right now. I would say separately, if you can go ahead and maybe start, if you can afford to stash a guy like Hardman, that may be worth it. But man, Tyreek Hill, if you can get off of this guy when you can, due to his injury that he's got going on, I don't think it's like crazy serious, but I mean, it sucks, right? You don't want to get rid of Hill, but if you're going to trade Hill, I think you can almost get even more than Kamara.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love Lamb and Chase as wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2.
They're not Tyreek Hill though.
Tyreek Hill, I think, has the largest ceiling out of any wide receiver in the entire National Football League.
And in the top 5 receivers rest of the season, we totally forgot Tyreek Hill. Yeah, we totally forgot Tyreek Hill.
It wasn't other than Hill and Adams?
Wasn't it? Shit, it was.
It was.
Okay, well that's how we feel about Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Richard Glass, I have Jeff Wilson session on every IR. That's because you are a definer establishment, sir. That's because you are
classy
genius.
Man.
Yes, classy Richard Glass, a true gentleman. Gentleman and a scholar, so to speak. Ron the Goat, should I use my number 1 waiver priority on Waddle or AJ Green, Deontay, and Jones on bye? I'd say Waddle.
Yeah. I mean, it's a. I would probably do Waddle here too, but AJ Green's been balling, man. AJ Green's been actually pretty good on the season. So if you're willing to take that shot against Houston, I think he sees enough targets to where he might get a touchdown or he might have a big enough game. But I still like Waddle's matchup here a ton. And I think Waddle I'd rather just have on my team rest of the season too. So that's also the way I would think about it, right? Rest of the season, I think Waddle has more value for you than AJ Green.
I agree.
100%. Yeah, he's not just a 1-week flyer.
No. He's also wide receiver 1 where, Green has been playing very good, as Steven just alluded to. I think Waddle's going to see more volume on a consistent basis. So, Ron, I would roll with Waddle as well. I just saw this pop up from Jerry. Are you guys playing Madden tonight, or is Stephen afraid? I don't believe so tonight, and probably not tomorrow, I would say, during the segments, but maybe during Thursday night football hangout.
Yeah,
that'll probably make more sense. So, yes, look forward to Stephen losing to me in Madden 2 more times Thursday night, everyone. Stephen looks a little angry about that. He might laugh on stream, but inside.
If you guys were there for our matchup, that was a pretty ferocious matchup.
Those are good games.
They were good games. I mean, I'll say that I felt bad for you. To be honest, I understand. Your sweatiness is a problem. So I decided to give you a victory here and there.
You had the advantage. My plays were literally on the stream.
Oh, dude, they were lagged out by a play. I was yeah, no. I'm better than you at everything.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's see here. Paul, T. Higgins or Myers this week. I have Sanders on bye, Najee Harris and James Robinson on bye. Yikes. I'm starting Brandon Cooks and Mike Evans automatically. Backup RBs are Sony and Herbert. I think Herbert's an okay start. this week.
Terrible matchup.
It is a bad matchup.
Terrible matchup.
I'm just trying to convince myself that it's okay that I'm starting him. I think I'd lean T. Higgins there against the Ravens.
Yeah.
I don't mind Myers either.
I like Myers.
Okay. I like both of those options, Paul. I think they're both perfectly fine. But I think I want Higgins, Steven wants Myers. So that's not very helpful. But honestly, if you flip a coin and one side's got Steven's face and one side's got my face, one saying Higgins, one saying Myers, I think it's okay either way.
One face has some chili and cheese on it. So I don't know about you, but I like that face.
I had Carrabba's.
That's a good classic.
Hey, I didn't see anyone let us know what they had for dinner tonight. Let's know what you had for dinner tonight, guys. Yeah. We really want to think about food while we're here. Wild Boy Trey, is Russell Gage a good pickup at receiver? I want to say yes, but he has not played well at all this year. I mean, this was a guy I talked about a lot in the preseason, offseason, and we haven't seen that output at all.
He's been borderline irrelevant, honestly.
Yeah. I would stay away unless we see something relevant happen and then compete for a waiver then. But even then, we want to see something on a consistent basis, not just one game, right? So I would stay away.
Yeah, I'm definitely off of Russell Gage this week and probably following weeks as well.
Ron the GOAT, do I start Tua, Matt Ryan, or Darnold this week?
That's a great question.
I like all of them.
I'm in the same situation, my guy Ron.
I think I have the most faith in Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
But I like Tua a lot. And I do think Darnold's got to bounce back.
Yeah. I will say this, right? Watching Tua play is like watching a quarterback that is not ready for the game. He looks awful. But because of his passing volume, he still puts out fantasy performances that I can live with. In fact, he's been pretty good about staying around close to 20 points every time he plays. Matt Ryan, I think this is a good option again because he's playing Miami. So I'd probably go Matt Ryan, but Tua is my clear number 2 here. But yeah, like you said, I think Darnold, he's got some opportunity, but by far the hardest matchup here. And he seems to still be dropping without Christian McCaffrey. We kind of knew this was going to happen, right? When safety blanket Christian McCaffrey was gone, he was going to now start feeling the fire.
Sure.
It might be the end of Mr. Sam Darnold being relevant.
Sammy D.
Yeah.
Kel Soaring 2, man, my league only allows us to keep 2 tight ends, shake my head, so I can't drop IU. Guess I'll hold Knox because my backup is Higbee. I think Higbee's fine play for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Higbee's perfectly fine for now.
Going against the Lions.
Yeah. Chase Brown should get Matt Ryan over Tua, or is Tua slightly better? I like them both. I think Steven just touched on that pretty well also. I like this matchup overall. So I would look to see who you have the most conviction in. I have personal conviction in Tua, so don't let that shape your decision too much.
Hey, man, I will say this too. I mean, I think we both like Matt Ryan more here, right?
Yeah, I think I can agree. In terms of I think it's a safer play. I think Tua might have a little bit more upside.
Yeah, because I think the one thing is you highlighted the running backs here to have a good game. Mm-hmm. The Dolphins have been very favorable to running backs, right? So maybe this ends up being a game where Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson get more of a rushing game.
Sure.
Whereas Tua, I mean, Myles Gaskin wasn't able to really do much against Jacksonville. So if he wasn't able to do much there, I wouldn't necessarily bake it in that he's going to do a ton against Atlanta. So yeah, it's real neck and neck, man. I just think you got to take your shot on which offense you believe in more.
I agree there. Matt Ryan is absolute puns.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Deandre Swift SZN got Hunt and J-Rob at RB. Both can't play, but got Dernurst. I do have Thielen, Devo, AJ Brown, Adams to give up for an RB rest of the season. Should I do it or just pick up waiver RB and hope 5-0? So last waiver. I mean, listen, man. If you're 5-1, I'm sorry, not 5-0. I think you hold on to those receivers for the depth. I mean, they're a big part of the reason why you're 5-1.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't play Hunt or James Robinson this week, so it's bad. It's bad. Probably won't get Dernurst unless and I have no idea how to say that guy's name, but
Dearness.
yeah, Ernst.
That's
That's pretty bad. It's kind of like when I say Gooter, I just like purposely say it wrong. But you might have to look at a different option. But I just wouldn't give up any of those receivers, quite frankly. I really wouldn't. If you maybe you can trade AJ Brown at a high value after that game, but honestly,
I would.
Having those 4 starting receivers can be very, very, very good for your roster down the road. So you might have to look at a couple of the sleeper streamer RBs. Maybe a Ramondre Stevenson, maybe a Mark Ingram. I mean, it's not fun, but it's just 1 week, right?
Yeah.
Then you'll get James Robinson back, and things should look a little bit better. All right. Kels22, how do you guys feel about Ramondre Stevenson with the week 7 buys? Will he get some carries? Yeah, I like Stevenson this week. If you're desperate, we talked about this a little bit during the must-start RB segment, right? I think Harris is going to have a good game. But we saw some really good work out of Stevenson last week, and the Jets are awful against opposing running backs. Oh, no, we got that wrong, right? They're actually quite good.
No, well, the Texans ended up being
that's
good.
right. That's right. I was like, I don't want to make that mistake again. Yeah, I think you can start Harris and Stevenson both this week. I wouldn't have full conviction in it, but at the same time, a lot of teams are out there hurting, and I think he's a fine play for the week.
Yeah, I mean, we loved him in preseason, and we've loved him in the work he's gotten in the regular season. It's the pass catching back. But the other thing with Stevenson too is I just think with Damian Harris's injuries, like I kind of want to have shares of Stevenson going forward this season.
Sure.
Just think there's a great opportunity for him to become more than just like a waiver flyer on a fantasy football apocalypse week like this one. But definitely think there's some opportunity here against the Jets for sure. And if not this week, might be nice to just have him.
I agree. Yeah. Chase Brown, someone just dropped Gibson in my league. Well, I have first waiver claim. Use it on him or McKissick.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough because I want to say Gibson because shit, that sucks.
That's tough.
Honestly, man, you got to take Gibson here, right? He's not going to be the better option this week or maybe even next week, but I think that's the guy I want to have on my team rest of the season. And I mean, he's just like I drafted him with my second pick in our league. Yeah, so I mean, that's the kind of value you're getting on your waivers. I can tell this fantasy owner is like me. He was just super pissed off, super frustrated. I'm just like, get the hell out of my lineup, right? But also, I mean, that injury, man. When you go out and grab him, don't necessarily expect that you're going to be able to plug and play this guy anytime soon, right? But yeah, I would snag him, and I would hope that you get him.
If it was me, I'd snag. Oh, well, actually, the position I'm in this week, I'd have to pick up McKissick, but I would really want Gibson, even if it was down the stretch. I would consider forfeiting this week if I could just get Gibson, I
tried to trade you him.
Okay. What'd you offer me again? Gibson for...
It was Christian McCaffrey straight up.
Okay, yeah, okay. Anyways, Matt, my bad got another impossible. Of course, man. Drop Sterling Shepard for Kirk, Renfrow, or Parker. No. Hold on to Sterling Shepard over those 3 guys all day long, man. All day long. DJ Vic, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Trade away CD for Saquon. I have Najee and Zeke, and at wide receiver, I have Keenan Allen, Marquise Brown, and AJ Brown. It's a 3-flex league. That's tough. I mean, I think it's a fair trade if you'd rather have another RB moving forward down the stretch, right? But I love CD Lamb too. And I mean, Keenan Allen hasn't been seeing the exact volume that we've want to see. AJ Brown's been banged up. I think we both believe in both those guys. And then Marquise Brown, he's number 6 right now in the season, depending on scoring format, but right around that area, right?
He's been amazing.
And are we afraid that he might drop off? Sure. So while I think we love all 3 of those guys, but there might be a little bit of speculation around those guys. So I think down the stretch, it might be more worthwhile to have those 4 receivers. Especially, I mean, Najee and Zeke. I mean, Najee, a rookie, but he looks durable. Zeke's been proven to be durable, right? I think those guys are two solid RBs. But is it a fair trade? I do think it's fair trade. If you'd rather have their RB,
it's a fair trade, and if you can envision in the future that in a perfect world, Saquon's healthy, you have Najee, Zeke, and Saquon, which I think is the scariest lineup at running back
scary.
that you can think about. But I would just say, man, looking at your receiving core, it is a very nice receiving core. I would love if you could maybe kick out one of those other guys because I like CeeDee Lamb. I get it. Maybe this guy wanted him because he is maybe the higher profile name guy out of this list. But if I could kick AJ Brown at high value, I'd rather do that, honestly, than CD rest of the season. I think I'd also rather trade Keenan Allen. So, yeah, I don't know. It'd be tough for me to get off CD, but I can understand why you'd want to do it. But shit, when Saquon comes back, we don't even really fully know if he's going to be that healthy rest of the season, right? So it's a wild card, and you're getting rid of a consistency guy in CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. Jerry, I was considering turning away Hill in the catch family, but I don't know who for.
I'll trade you.
Steven will trade you. There you go. Talk about Steven with it. I think you can get you gotta get damn good value out of that. Jerry. Ryan, who's better, fully healthy, Michael Thomas or Hill?
Tyreek Hill.
I think we both say Tyreek Hill. No disrespect to Thomas.
But, none.
Yeah, but I think we both say Hill.
Yeah, I just think what Tyreek Hill can do to an offense is leaps and bounds above what Michael Thomas can do for an offense. Michael Thomas has some of the surest hands in route running in all of football, but Tyreek Hill is probably the most dynamic football player I have seen in maybe my entire lifetime. And man, he is a match made in heaven with Patrick Mahomes.
Truly. Finesse or Finn, what do you guys think about Woods for Kittle? I just traded Schultz for Miles Sanders, and my other tight end is Knox. So you're trading away Woods and receiving Kittle, I'm assuming. I think it's a fair trade, but of course there's some injury concerns, right? But I think it's a fair trade. And yeah, you can't start Knox right now. If you trade away Schultz for Miles Sanders, which is probably going to give Steven an aneurysm, then you probably do need that tight end value, right? So I think it's a fair trade.
Yeah, I guess my first reaction would be I'd want to see what your lineup looks like or what your roster looks like at receiver, because George Kittle, when I think about him, honestly, I have a question mark. I have hesitancy. He has not really done anything, and he's obviously been super banged up. But Robert Woods, I just wouldn't want to trade for maybe a guy that we don't know what he's going to do, right? If I'm weak at receiver. So definitely let us know what else you have on your squad.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Jerry, wow, how nice of Stephen to give you those back-to-back wins. It was kind.
Yeah, every once in a while I do good things for people in need. That is what I do, Jerry. I'm a good guy.
Yo, 193. You think the Browns RB is worth starting? Yes, if you're desperate enough, absolutely. If you're not desperate, I'd stay away from it for now. But most of us are desperate right now.
Yeah.
Jerry, Chase McLaughlin or Younghoe Koo?
Younghoe Koo, baby. He's in the kicker video. He's the first guy. You know, I love my Younghoe Koo. He is an amazing guy.
What is this like accent you do when you talk about kickers? You know?
It is kind of weird. Yeah, it is very coordinated with the kickers. But no, honestly, I think John and I both think this Miami Atlanta game is going to be the battle of shitty defenses who don't show up. I just think there's going to be a ton of opportunity here. I think Who's got a great narrative, great situation he's in. McLaughlin, not so much, man. And he pissed me off last week. He really ticked me off last week against Arizona. I mean, I was mad, Like let me just say this, guys. Sometimes we don't get it right when we're putting out our must starts. We can only go with our logic and our reason. But that guy, whoa, cross out. No, don't put him in your lineup. Of course, he's going to go out and have like 30 points now.
Wow.
Yeah. Got some anger.
The end. Should I trade CMC for Najee or Eckler? I don't mind that.
Eckler and Najee for sure.
Well, it's Najee or Eckler, but either one I think is fine.
Yeah.
If it was both, then it'd be like, yes, yeah, dude, right now.
I would say I'd probably lean Najee.
I don't mind either choice. I really don't. KB, rate 10-man team, Stafford, Bridgewater, Kamara, Javonte, Montgomery, Harris, Diggs, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Bateman, and Judy, then Ertz and Kittle. I'd say a solid B plus. I mean, injuries are hurting you, but I mean, actually, kind of leaning towards A. Just looking at when Montgomery's healthy, having Kamara and Montgomery, you can move in Harris for the time being, but then Diggs and Devontae Adams, you got the option of AJ Brown or Higgins at flex as well. And then you can start Stafford all season long. So then I like Ertz and Kittle. If Kittle gets healthy and gets going, then that's B plus, borderline A. Very good team overall, KB. Better than
for sure. I definitely think that's the right analysis because I mean, if Kittle can make that jump and get healthy, this team has like 0 holes. So yeah, I really like your squad. I like what you put together. Jerry Jeudy also, if he can get healthy, man, it's just a lot of opportunity right there on your bench.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Any new faces out there, make sure you guys consider subscribing down below, becoming part of the Catch family. Guys, keep on smashing that like button so we get as many new viewers to the stream as possible. Matt Tua's played in 2 full games. Cut him some slack. I agree.
Of course you do.
Cut Tua some slack, guys. Chase Brown, I'll just go Tua. Fuck it. Matt, Robbie Anderson, biggest disappointment so far. He plays the Giants this week. Maybe he gets back on track. I would say he's definitely up there in terms of what some of the larger disappointments on the season.
I don't think he has a bounce back here.
I don't know if he's going to bounce back either, though. He needs to. He was dropping balls like they were hot potatoes.
I almost view Robbie Anderson as like a less productive Van Jefferson. Like, I feel like they're going to get a lot of their value off of deep shots. If Robbie Anderson's not making a big splash play, I'm not sure I want any part of him.
Finesse or Finn. We already got to that one. Bronco plays. What's going on, man? Trade James Robinson for Nick Chubb and non-PPR. I view these guys in pretty similar fashion. Is that crazy? Except one has been banged up more than the other. If you're really hurting immediately at the RB position, then yes, I think it's okay. But that's tough.
Let me just say this. Kareem Hunt going to be out for a bit, right? When he comes back, he's got a calf injury, which is not chill at running back. So what does that mean? That means Nick Chubb is probably going to see even more touches. I think he has a real opportunity if he can come back healthy to become dominant like he was last year. I really do like him rest of the season, especially with Kareem Hunt being out.
I don't think it's a bad trade either. I would ask you Bronco plays as long as you're confident in the running backs you have at the given time, right? And if you are, then yeah, I think it's a fine play too.
Yeah.
Chase Brown, would you all be okay with me dropping Madison because I need players this week? I also want to keep Cowboys defense if possible. I think it's okay. I think Cook looks as healthy as he's going to be this year. But just keep in mind, if you drop Madison, he might not be available next week. I mean, that's just a handcuff that teams out there that are in good positions, teams out there that are in a bad position, trying to put themselves in a good position, they're going to look at a guy like that and say, hey, this is worth a shot. But yeah, looking at your position, man, I think it's fine.
Yep.
Jerry, I did start Chase because Steven said so. So he got me 2 points. Good job, Steven.
I screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, man, Chase, I really don't know what happened. He really pissed me off. Jerry, Steven. I'm very upset now. I'm going to go to sleep with bad thoughts now.
Okay. Zeta, I have Cowboys defense. Should I keep it? If you can, yes.
Yeah.
If you have to drop them with as many bye weeks and injuries as we have, then it is what it is. You still have a shot to get them back.
Hey, the Catch fam loves the Cowboys defense, man. We've been on these guys since early. We love the Cowboys defense. So if you can somehow keep them, definitely do it.
I also loved Washington football team's defense in the offseason. So, got to be transparent here. Jeffrey Mason, what's going on? Best case scenario for Tua, he's slightly worse than Mac Jones and still the worst QB in the division. We'll see.
Yeah.
You guys know I got faith in Tua. Face 10 Foil, what's going on, man? Always good to see you. I did a straight up trade with Damian Harris for Chase Edmonds. Who won this one?
I don't know what to think of Edmonds anymore.
I don't either. I mean, I think they're both dealing with injuries. Like I view these guys kind of in similar positions right now. This week, I think Damian Harris has the better week. Down the stretch, I don't know, but it was evident that that game yesterday or Sunday that Edmonds is really dealing with this injury. I mean, his snap share went down significantly as well. So hard to say. Only time will tell. But at this given time, I think Harris is the better play. But he could go out just as soon as Edmonds could go out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say.
I think it's a pretty fair trade, though. Honestly,
it is a fair trade. Yeah. Vanessa Fenn, hey guys, thanks for the advice on the Woods for Kittle trade. My wide receivers, if I traded Woods, would be AB, Brandon Cooks, T. Higgins, and Renfro.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I lean staying with Robert Woods here. John, I don't know if you're going to disagree, but man, I get it. Kittle could come back healthy and look like old Kittle, but that receiving core, you might need the depth.
I don't disagree. Just need a tight end. If I remember correctly. So, I like what I think Woods is maybe.
No, he has Knox.
Well, Knox is hurt.
This is Vanessa Finn, right?
This is Vanessa Finn.
Yeah, he's got Knox. So I mean, I'm talking rest of the season, man. I mean, oftentimes I'm not gonna I don't necessarily want to make a trade for a short-term move, right? So I mean, if like you were saying, like if Dawson Knox comes back here, you might be able to suck it up and figure out some stuff in the meantime. I would stay away from it.
You might be able to use someone off waivers in the time being. So it's a tough question. I mean, I am looking at those receivers. I hate to see you lose Woods out of the equation. Let's see here. Zuda, best tight end pickup. Let us know who's available in your league. Let us know who's available, Zuda. So, or excuse me. Oh my gosh, totally lost my spot.
I could see Ricky Seals-Jones as being up there in your waivers, though, and I would definitely give a glance at him.
Vanessa Finn said Seals-Jones, and Zuda says he's probably going to be gone.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Let us know who's available and who you think you can get, Zuda. Chris Brown, right now I'm tempted to get Matt Ryan since I have Pitts. We're stacking or still Tua. I think they're both fine plays, but yeah, I think it's a good idea if you can stack those two guys as well. Jerry, with Youngway already having his bye week, can I rely on him being my number one kicker rest of the season?
Ding, ding, ding. This just triggered me to bring something up.
Okay.
Talking about bye weeks for kickers. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, right? But we need to seriously consider this. Tyler Bass is going to be on bye week.
Oh, yeah.
I am already itching for the fantasy owner to drop him because it's a bonanza out there. People need players, and I don't think anybody's going to hold on to their kicker. If you can get Bass, go out and grab him and don't think about it twice, because if you look at this guy, he is getting like 10 to 13 points a week. I am hoping that he becomes available.
I agree.
I'm going to snag him. I would literally burn a top 2 waiver priority for this guy, just so I don't have to deal. Just so I don't have to deal with it anymore going forward. I don't want to have to deal with my Chase McLaughlin's anymore. I don't want to have to deal with that. I just want to be able to snag this guy and bank on it. So Jerry, let me just tell you, if you can get this chance, do it.
Zuda, Knox as a tight end is solid, and he's on the Bills. I 1,010% agree. That's the most agreeing I've ever done on this channel. But he's hurt. We don't know how long this is going to affect him. I don't think it's going to be too long, but You just got to keep that in mind. They're fortunate they get the bye week, but he is going to miss some time. Jerry, I don't want two kickers on my team with Younghoe and Chase. I take Q out of the two guys. Yeah. Matt Gilbert, hey guys, my Dynasty League, someone dropped Logan Thomas. How much FAAB should I use on him?
I don't know. I don't know how much fab I'd be willing to burn on this guy.
Yeah, Steven's not feeling great on Logan Thomas.
It's not that I don't like him. It's tough. I would definitely burn like around like that 10% amount of your fab on a guy like a Logan Thomas.
He might float around for another week as well.
Yeah.
Jerry, is Nelson Aguilar a good pickup? I wouldn't trust him, Jerry. I know you're hurting, bro, but it's a very, very boomer bust. Like the worst boomer bust situation maybe in the league. Chase Brown might have to drop Cowboys defense since my wide receiver 2 spot is empty. Getting Mooney, but I need someone else. Can't drop Zeke, Allen, Judy, Deontay, Josh Allen, CMC, or CH. I think that's fine then, man. I think they should be your number one waiver next week. But if you have to do it, you have to do it. So it is what it is, man. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wind down these streams. So over the next 5 to 10 minutes, make sure you guys get in any of your final fantasy Q&A. Any last minute questions you guys have, we will be back on tomorrow at 8 p.m. for our must start QB/tight end segment, followed and alongside fantasy Q&A for week 7 as well. Maybe some waiver wire reaction for you guys. Maybe you guys will have questions dependent on what happened on your waiver Wednesday morning as well. So if you guys haven't already, we do kindly ask you to go and smash that like button. If you guys are new to the channel and hanging around, then go ahead and hit that sub button down below and become part of the Catch Fam as well. But we got about 5 to 10 minutes here left. Matt Gilbert, Javonte Williams, or Rondell Moore in half PPR. I think
that's tricky, man.
I think I'd be willing to take the gamble on Williams, but Moore's got that big ceiling, man, every week.
Yeah, I honestly lean Rondell Moore here.
I think that's fine too.
If it was a pure PPR, I'd be much more inclined to go Rondell Moore here too, just because those, the limited amount of targets he does get, it'll pan out a little bit more. But yeah, man, I mean, that Javonte Williams 50-50 share carry with Melvin Gordon, it's really a guess of who falls into the end zone, right?
Yeah.
Which it could actually turn into that kind of game script against Cleveland. But yeah, I lean Rondell Moore here. If he's going to have a big blow-up game with his high ceilings, it's going to be this week against Houston.
I agree.
In the Catch Fam League, I'm going to put him in my flex more than likely.
I don't hate that.
But my team also is really bad. So,
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, Zeta, you've got Robert Tonyan. What happened to my guy Tonyan, guys? Evan Ingram, Seals Jones, Conklin, Njoku, Cole Kmet, Cameron Brate, Ferkser, and Uzma, it looks like. So I would lean Seals Jones as the number one option, hands down. And then I'd be willing to take a risk on Tonyan or Evan Ingram next. That would be my thoughts there. That would be the order of players for me. Cole Kmet coming off his best game of the season, but I don't want to read too much into it. Maybe Cameron Brate or maybe even OJ Howard had a score last week. So,
that's a risky one.
It's very, very risky. I might start him in my 20-man league. So, but yeah, I would definitely say Ricky Seals-Jones should be the number one priority, and then Tonyan and Evan Ingram, just due to their offenses, would be the next two guys. Jerry, what defense should I keep rest of the season, Pats or Steelers?
Yeah, so my gut was saying the Steelers. Then I went and looked at the schedule, and I even believe in that even more, right? Neither of these guys have great schedules rest of the season, but I just think the Steelers defense has been better there, like so far. And I like these next few weeks again, if at least better than the Pats matchup. So they got Cleveland after the bye week, Chicago, and Detroit, right? So I think those are definitely opportunities where they could have good games. Cleveland's super banged up, so I don't necessarily think that's a terrible matchup anymore. But also, Jerry, with kickers and defenses, at least this is how John and I view the strategy side of this with these positions. We really like to take a streaming approach with these guys and not necessarily hold on to a team, right? Unless they are an elite caliber defense or like a Tyler Bass, right? A kicker, just because it is often based off a matchup. And you often have to kind of cut a defense like that for a skill guy, just because skill guys are more valuable for your team ultimately. But that's just a little bit of the input and advice about how we do the strategy side to these position groups. But if you want to hold on to a defense rest of the season, I don't mind that. I don't know if either of these defenses quite have proven it to me, though, that they are deserving of that.
Sure. Chase Brown, thoughts? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, do you have any like comment to kind of back that up though too, with kind of that idea?
No, I do agree that if you can stream on a week-to-week basis, it's probably better than just keeping one of those two teams.
Yeah,
I think I'd lean the Pats, maybe, but
okay.
yeah, I think streaming is the way to go if you can, Jerry. I do agree with Steven there. Chase Brown, thoughts on tomorrow's game? I assume you mean Thursday. Worth investing in fantasy-wise? To some degree, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Christian, I just got sent Mike Evans and Gibson for JJ. Should I do it?
No,
Sister.
no. I'm not buying as a fantasy owner of Gibson. I'm not buying any shares of Gibson right now. I'm extremely worried that this is going to be a season-long injury. Hopeful that it's not.
Ravens D is available. Should I pick it up? They haven't been very good this season.
Yeah, take away the Chargers game. They've been very bad.
So I'd say no. Christian, who should I start? Thielen, Evans, or Gibson? I'd think Thielen right now, quite honestly. Finesse or Finn, thanks for the fantasy advice. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for swinging by. Now I'm scared to get Gibson off waiver. Steven says Chase.
Chase, look, man. Honestly, I'm not gonna try to stop your fears because I'm scared of having Gibson too. But bottom line is, it's just not worth it to me to give up on a guy like Gibson when there's still the potential that he's going to be able to suck up the pain, because a lot of this injury is pain management, right? And if they can give him a week or two to rest it up, to get healthy, you're back into a place where Gibson's a guy that you can plug into your lineup. McKissick, he's been good too, right? Especially PPR, but Gibson's still more valuable for me.
Finesse or Finn, thanks for stopping by, man. You have a fantastic night. Appreciate you coming out, hanging out for a bit. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and hopefully we see you tomorrow night as well. Jerry, all right, talk to you guys later. Good night, everyone. Bimbo, good night, Jerry. We love you, bro. Peace out, Jerry. Shout out to Jerry. Chase Brown, thanks, guys. Appreciate the help. Appreciate you, Chase. Peace out. Bimbo, should I sell high for CD, and if so, for who? CD is looking pretty much like a player we want on our rosters right now.
Yeah, but I would say if you're going to sell at a certain point, this might be one of his better weeks on the season.
Yeah.
Just because of how balanced this offense is, chances are going to be lower that he balls out to this magnitude. But if you're going to trade him, you need an RB1 or you need a wide receiver 1 and change, right? In my opinion, you got to be trading up. Don't just trade for a level trade here. Trade where you're weak.
Chase, see y'all tomorrow night. Absolutely, brother. Yeah, guys, we will be back on tomorrow night, 8 p.m., doing our must-start QB, must-start tight end segment, and then we'll hop into fantasy Q&A. So final question for the night, James Zhao, Aaron Jones or Henderson rest of the season, is it close? I would argue that is close. Henderson's got a beautiful stretch coming up. He's going to ball out overall, man. I still think you got to lean Aaron Jones just with some of those ceilings he's going to have. But Henderson's going to be extremely consistent, man. So I love both of those guys, and it is close. I like both of them, man. Hard to say. Zuda, we'll do yours as the final question. Which D should I pick up out of the Ravens, Vikings, Dolphins, Jags, Chiefs, Seahawks, Chargers, Falcons, Giants, Eagles, Lions, Texans, Houston, Jets?
Wow.
I think I'd lean the Vikings there. Is that crazy? That's a tough question.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens got the Bengals and they're on bye, and they got Minnesota. Without being able to, I guess I could quickly take a look at some of these guys' matchups. Vikings have Dallas, and then Baltimore, and then the Chargers, and then Green Bay. So I would say I would say the Vikings are not going to be in the equation.
Never mind.
Let me take a look at the Chargers real quick because I do think that's an interesting one. They have New England, which is a good matchup. Philly, which is a pretty good matchup, I think. Minnesota, and then Pittsburgh, and Denver, and Cincinnati. And in the championship week, 16 and 17, they have Houston and Denver. Honestly, I kind of lean in this situation. I lean towards a defense like the Ravens, maybe, even though they don't have a great schedule. I just think, maybe they carry the momentum of that Chargers game where they absolutely shut out one of the best offenses in all of football. And if not them, I think the Chargers out of that list.
I agree. I do agree with that. 100%. Bimbo, thanks, guys. Love what you're doing. Appreciate you for coming through tonight, Bimbo. James Zhao, good night, guys. Appreciate you, James. Hope you have a good night. Zita, thanks, y'all. Have a good night. Yeah, tough decision on D. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, guys. We are wrapping up the stream for the night. I see Evan saying Mike Williams for CD. It's fair trade. I like both sides. I like both those players quite a bit. Whoever you have the most conviction in, and look at those two offenses who do you have more conviction in overall, the Chargers or the Cowboys, I would make that your final indicator there. So yeah, that should do it for the night, guys. Appreciate everyone coming out. Truly, truly do appreciate everyone's support and all of the Catch fam. If you are new here and tuning in, make sure you go ahead and hit that sub button down below. Become part of the Catch fam tonight. Everyone, hit that like button if you already did or did not do so on your way out. And we truly, truly do 100% appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. for the Must Start Quarterback, Must Start Tight End segment. Heading in to our fantasy Q&A for tomorrow night as well. So we look forward to seeing everyone there. I got nothing else to say, but thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, saw it here on the Catch. And peace. Steven also says goodbye, and he thanks you guys all.
Also, Zuda, throw in that question in the defensive video for the Must Start defensive videos this week. I will try to address that question in further detail as well for those defenses that you want. So maybe break it down to a couple of defenses you want me to get my analysis on.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions that we didn't get to tonight, drop them in the comments on any of the latest videos posted. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, you saw it here on